it makes life a lot easier out the track, so you don't have to worry about school and on-track performance and grades and all that sort of stuff.
The school understands exactly what I'm doing. They understand, how important it is for me, and the schedule that they, created for me is really well balanced, and I really enjoy it.
It's a very fine balance between his sporting career and also his studies. He doesn't have to compromise on either. I'm very happy that Minerva has supported us through this journey.
The communication is great, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think MVA would help a lot of other races. A lot of people come into the track and asking about it. What do you do for homeschool? Like, how does it work? And I always say, Minerva, you need to contact them and get going with them, because it's made my life so much easier.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round 4 of the Champions of the Future in 2024. I'm your commentator, Anthony Jordan, taking you through all of the action over the course of this morning, yesterday, and of course for this afternoon of what is set to be a thrilling round of races. A little look at the track. Year of opening 2012, event record set in time qualifying this weekend from Dmitry Matviev in the OK category of 49.058. An absolutely astonishingly fast time that no one has been able to beat just as of yet. A closer look at the circuit itself. 1,221 metres in total track length. It's 185 metres down the main straight. Track widens around 8 to 10 metres of track width with 6 metres of elevation change throughout the circuit. It's an up and down circuit that spans across 1.2 kilometres. 14 turns in total here at the track, and certainly a lot of them are major overtaking opportunities around the circuit as well. You can overtake around some of them, but a look around the track as well. 8 turns to the right, 6 to the left, 6 hairpins out there. All of them become overtaking opportunities through turn 4, turn 6, 7, through turn 14 as well. We've seen overtakes in towards turn 9. Some say that was a difficult overtake to do, but we've seen mega overtakes throughout there. Scott Lindblom being the best of it. You can catch all of those on the social medias as well. Top speed around 125 kilometres an hour. Drivers will be reaching that into the braking zone of turn number 1 with an average speed of 83 kilometres an hour around the circuit as well. It is a fast, twisty, demanding circuit that our drivers are racing on this weekend, but it has certainly been a fabulous opening few races. The next race coming up very, very soon. It is OK Junior qualifying heat D versus F. That'll be taking to the track next. And again, all the way throughout today, it's been, it's been pretty thrilling for a lot of these drivers. It's only their 4th race that they're coming into now. For some groups, they've already deployed their 4th race. But this young driver here is Gander Sulfakari, 3rd place earlier on today. A very good result, and now starting on pole position for this one. We'll have the close company of Canada's Illy Christian starting alongside as well. Christian finishing in 11th earlier on. Probably not the best result they would have wanted, especially from the front row of the grid, but still nonetheless, good results have come in thick and fast from drivers from around the field and around the paddock as well. There is a look at Illy Christian, the driver of the number 72 for the Tony Kart team. Certainly had a challenging weekend, I would say, but plenty more races to go for the category. Certainly will prove that, that you have ups and downs over the weekend, but I'm sure good things are going to be coming Illy Christian's way. Bosco Arias and Oliver Rasmussen start this one on the 2nd row of the grid again. Both of them relatively calm, decent results throughout. Arias finishing P5 earlier on, Rasmussen finishing in P6. There you can see Ross Upton, the chief pre-grid officer, with the 1-minute board up in the air, meaning that we are very soon about to get racing underway. Like I was going to say, it's a tense time all the way throughout this weekend. It's the second half of the day. Welcome back to everyone if you're watching on YouTube, if you've joined on the second stream. Welcome back to everyone who's watching on Facebook and, of course, motorsport.tv as well. This becomes a really interesting part of the weekend because, of course, we've seen the busy side of yesterday. We saw the busyness of this morning. Now it starts to get into the seriousness of it, because this is where points literally mean prizes, because you've got championship points up for grabs at the end of this second half of the day. You've got drivers deciding whether or not they're going to make it into the super heats. You've got drivers who we are going to find out if they're not even going to make the super heats. Remember, of course, only 72 drivers go into those superheats tomorrow. We do not know who they're going to be. Engines fire up. OK, junior qualifying heat D versus F makes its way out into the circuit. Let's quickly take you through the starting lineup. It's Iskander Solfakari and Eli Christian going from row number 1. Bosco Arias and Oliver Rasmussen on row 2. Archie Lovett and Noah Baglin from Jean-Mathieu Rousseau and Thomas Bradier. Sebastian Letomaki and Lev Krutzelov round at the top 10 on row 5. Then it's Harrison Mackie and Daniel Kelleher, Jensen Burnett and Mats Van Ruin with Mika Runitz and Paul Andriotis on row 8. Drew Waltz and Alex Malota from Georgi Zazov and Mark Pilapenko on row 10. They round at the top 20. Augustus Toniolo and Alex Martinez go from row 11. Sonia B and Enzo Richigiro round up row 12. Then it's Alex Brunner and Lilian Scalbra on row 13. Ludwig Muzzi and Jonathan Landstrom on row 14. Hampus Holmberg and Sadamat Sui round out row 15 in the top 30 with Christopher Nita and Alfie Slater, who will not be taken to the race. And judging by that picture, neither will Alex Malota. Unfortunately, the Hangman Racing driver out of this race, and well, that is disastrous for Malota. He would have been starting around the mid-pack area, P18, and he's, well, out of this race before it even started. That is not how you want to start the second half of the day after the lunch break, but nevertheless, the race will go on as the drivers now enter their formation lap. Out lap completed. Now this is where they start to slow the pace down, bring everyone into formation, and get themselves ready for the second half of the day. Reminder of the championship standings at this point of the season. Schaufler in the juniors leads it from Rocco Coronel, Drisan Langendonk from Filippo Sala, Christian Kostoya from Kenzo Craigie, Ian Kraling from Noah Baglin, Sebastian Letomaki and Joel Pokela rounds out the top 10. Pokela at the moment, who's been on fine form this weekend as a driver who's certainly looking to score big championship points this weekend to try and close that gap up as much as possible. We head into the final quarter then for the first race after the lunch break, the second half of the day. Let's see who's going to get the whole shot into turn 1. Solfakari and Christian, lights go green. We are racing down into turn 1, and it's Illy Christian who gets the lead. And the whole shot through the apex of turn 1. It is the Canadian on fine form. One driver off wide in the background there. Not sure who that is, but they rejoin safely in the back of the field. Rest of the field breaks their way down in towards turn number 4 and 5. It's all clean for the first part of it, but crucially, it's a great getaway for the Canadian. Down the inside, the Forza Racing driver of Iskander Solfakari tries to hold on to second place. Amazingly does so, but is under immense pressure here from Bosco Arias, who sends it down the inside now and moves up into second place. That is heavy damage there for the number 78 on the rear bumper. That is Alex Martinez, unfortunately, who is tumbling down the order, and I'm not sure if he was the driver who was caught out at the beginning there, but we'll try and find out who that possibly could have been. On board here with Oliver Rasmussen for the Tony Kart Racing team, right there behind Archie Lovett as they go through the chicane. Shows down the hill into the braking zone, the positive camber as you head through the corner. And brilliant start there for the front run of the field. Again, showing how technical and demanding this circuit is. Having a quick look here at tyre choice, if anyone's deployed new tyres, and can confirm there is quite a few deployment of fresh tyres, but no one at the moment within the top 7 rows has deployed it. Mika Runitz is the top ranking driver who's deployed a fresh set, and crucially everyone has deployed them on the left-hand side of the kart. Action here. Down the inside, Bosco Arias takes the lead of the race through turn 14 on lap number 2. We go on to lap 3 now, and it's Arias who leads the way. Christian still there in second place, has not dropped off the back. The pack is really spread out now, despite the early stage of the race. You've got the leaders going in now on your screen in towards turn number 6. You've still got the back of the field only entering turn number 4 now as well, a couple of corners behind. So, again, it just shows how spread out this field is in the early stages. Baglin's there in third place now. He's had a good start, 3 places gained. He's pushing his way up the field here. Baglin, who had a 4th place finish earlier on, looking to better that. He's had good results this weekend, has Baglin. So he's definitely one to keep an eye on. And, well, proof that he's had good results this weekend. Look at that. He leads the intermediate classifications with that move up into third place. So any more positions he gains helps out his fight and where he could potentially start for the Superheats tomorrow, and what championship points he can gain at the end of the day. Baglin at the moment is in a decent spot in the championship, 8th in the championship standings. Didn't even make the final at Val d'Argenton. Didn't score any points in France, actually. 2nd place in Slovakia. So Baglin certainly wants to keep an eye on. Down the inside, he gets into 2nd place now, gets past Eli Christian. Christian's going to fight back, though, and, well, forcing the move there is Zulfikari. Baglin slams that door close, says, absolutely no, you're not coming through. Rasmussen gets through. He's gone through into P4 now, and that's brought in Letamaki, Rousseau, Lovett is there. Harrison Mackey's closed in as well. There you can see down the inside this time around. Zulfikari gets back up into 4th place. Rasmussen now under attack from the rest of the field. Arias leads the way. It's clear by 0.6 of a second. Baglin is going to close back in on Eli Christian here, but the gap's opened up quite considerably right now. This is the battle further back, though. Another one of the Prema Carts. Well, that is that's Jean-Matteo Rousseau that's coming through with a very similar livery to the Prema Carts there as he goes through shot. There is Archie Lovett as well in the number 44. He's piling on the pressure there, trying to look down the inside of Harrison Mackey. Mackey, though, sticking to his racing line, stays on form. Mackey needing the good results in this one. Had a better result earlier on today, but yesterday certainly was a day to forget. He's just looking at trying to gain positions now in this latter stage of the weekend. There are some drivers at risk of being eliminated from the superheat phase of the weekend. Remember, it's just 72 that go through. We're going to lose around 25 plus drivers from this grid who do not make the cut-off. They do need to be careful here. Race results are needed at this point of the weekend. Zulfikari, with the fastest lap of the race, is starting to close in once again on Baglin. The gap between them, though, is extensive, but it is closing. Still, Letamaki there in P5 with Rousseau in tow. They are closing in. Rasmussen there in 7th place. Mackey in 8th. Lovett 9th. Krutelov in 10th. It's got Burnett and Kelleher just behind as well in the top 12. Mats van Rooyen, Andriotis Pradeer, and Son as well in the top 16. Looking down the grid, no big movers in this one. Sunyabi is the biggest mover, 7 positions gained, up into P16. Is what happened.
404 for 6161, contact on 7878.
Well, confirmation there, 61, which is Enzo Ruggiero, the South African driver for the Cup Republic Motorsport team then, spotted by race control as to be the driver at fault, and the reason why we have lost Alex Martinez from this race. So we'll keep a close eye and see if anything comes Ruggiero's way. There is an investigation under his name at the moment. Still, though, at the front here, Arias leads the way. Baglin in 2nd place has got that job done. He's pushed his way through. Christian there in 3rd. Zulfikari has closed in as well. Letamaki is right there as well. Letamaki close enough for the move here. Zulfikari not so much. He needs to close in another lap or so. Over the crest they go, and goes defensive there, does Zulfikari. So he's even thinking that I haven't got enough to catch Christian here. Well, let's see what happens as they all chop and change. Quantum Solace there for him. Jean-Matteo Rousseau gets through. So he hasn't got the pressure from Letamaki anymore, does Zulfikari. So at least focus a little bit more now on Christian. Went defensive, which forced the move there, just in the background. So positions changing thick and fast. Still Mackey there up behind. This is on board with Oliver Rasmussen pushing his way through. He is still there in P6. You can see the battle ahead of him in the form of Jean-Matteo Rousseau battling away, but still no changes between them at the moment. Fabulous on board over the crest there. Gives you a real insight of how much it goes uphill there, and then it just cuts off, and the carts do get a little bit of air there. can imagine if there is a talented photographer with a good zoom lens anywhere near there, they might get some good airborne action there of karts going over that crest. Still the live picture on the right-hand side of your screen as well, with the onboard on the left-hand side. And still, it is still a close battle here. Well, Lehtomäki not able to make a move just yet on Rasmussen, as who we were on board with a moment ago. Still just pushing his way forward. Here's getting a little interesting.
Parking, David, just before post 6, just checked there was a cart going really slow. I think he's running at the back now, number 66.
Well, there we go, and another investigation going out as well. For the number 66 going slowly at the back of the field. Now, I can't see a 66 on the back of my screen, but I can see a 55 of Alex Brunner, who has gone to the back of the grid. That could be the number that is being called out. Well, there is the 66 racing at the moment on the screen, but not on the back of the field, because that is, of course, Sulfakari, who is fighting at the front of the field. So that would make more sense. Christian's still there, though, in third place, battling away with that. Check over the shoulder. Sulfakari going on to the final lap. Can see Jean-Matteo Rousseau in the rear there. Not close enough, though, for the attack. Arias at the moment comfortably in the lead. Baglin 7/10 of a second behind. 7/10 of a second clear from this battle here. This is the third place battle on your screens. And again, Christian's going to go defensive here. Christian earlier on, 11th place, remember. A third place here will certainly be well received. He's going to have to fight for it a little bit harder here. Sulfakari is piling on the pressure. Oh dear, it's kicking off a little bit here down the inside. That's not gone well at all for Pradir, and the 18 as well of Jensen Burnett. They've gone off the circuit, they've rejoined. Not what you want to see, though. Bosco Arias, though, takes the checkered flag. Baglin takes second. Christian takes third place. Good result there for really Christian. Sulfakari taking a P4. And Bosco Arias, a win to his name. He'll be delighted with that one. Rasmussen crossing the line in P6. A carbon copy result of what he got earlier on today. Archie Lovett in that one finishes P9. Probably not the result he would have wanted, dropping down a few positions in that one. Jean-Matteo Rousseau is a good position there. P5 after a P7 earlier on as well. Baglin can be happy with a P2 as well. Another good result, and that position bumps him up to the lead of the intermediate classifications. For Bosco Arias, well, he moves up in the order, but he doesn't sit anywhere within the top 8 of the intermediate classifications at the moment, so he has got some work to do later on today. Here's a look then at the full results at the end of that one. Bosco Arias from Baglin, Eli Christian finishing in third from Sulfakari, Jean-Matteo Rousseau and Oliver Rasmussen in P5 and 6. Then it's Sebastian Lehtomäki from Lev Krutelov, Archie Lovett from Mats van Rooyen, Harrison Mackie finishing in P11 ahead of Daniel Kelleher. It's Burnett and Thomas Pradir in 14th place. Mark Pilipenko finishes in P15 with a gain of 5 places. And Sonia B for company in P16 after gaining 7. Paul Andriotis from Drew Waltz, Georgi Zazov from Enzo Ruggiero, but again under investigation after gaining 4 places in that one. Rounds out the top 20 on circuit. Then it's Toniolo, Runitz from Saramatsui, Holmberg from Brunner, Landstrom from Muzi, Scarborough from Nita, who round out the 29. 2 retirements, Alex Malota and Alex Martinez, unfortunately out of the race. The one non-starter, Alfie Slater. Let's take you through the highlights of that one. Well, interesting start. Eli Christian breaking away there, getting the jump at the start of that one from Iskander Sulfakari. Sulfakari not getting the starts down so far this weekend. Chops over the front, trying to cover off the attack there from Oliver Rasmussen. Successfully does so, so holds on to second place. The driver going off in the early stages there of the race. Still quite unsure about who that was at the start of the race. On board with Oliver Rasmussen, he was really thick in the action all the way throughout this. You can see Baglin just going down the inside there, trying to get past through turn at number 4 and 5, able to get the switchback out of the corner. would later go on to finish in second place. This was Arias getting through the inside on Iskandar Fakari. That was the heavy damage and retirement there for Alex Martinez. Question mark over whether Enzo Ruggiero at fault for that one. Race control watching on during the racing. We heard from the radio message in that race. Baglin getting up into third place. That move would, well, getting up to fourth place, I should say. That move would get him up into the lead of the intermediate classification. This was the move from Rasmussen down the inside, the same time as Baglin going for the move in the opening lap as well. This was the change for the lead down the inside. Moscow Arias getting in front of Ili Christian. And, well, nothing Christian could do there. Would stay in second place and would later be attacked by Baglin. He would try to get the switchback move on the exit. Blocked off, though, as Iskandar Fakari went back down the inside. Big send here. Baglin was lucky to hold on to that position there. And again, it was a really tense time, I think, for Baglin at that point. It kind of flustered him as Iskandar Fakari went on the charge again down the inside of Rasmussen. That brought Jean-Mathieu Rousseau into play. Rousseau getting a really good result in this one. There was Baglin again, back down the inside on lap 7, retaking second place. This time Christian not able to do anything. Rousseau down the inside as well, getting the move done on the field behind. Lev Krutulov gaining the positions in the latter stage of that race as well. Rasmussen doing his level best to try and close in. This is where it started to get a little heated in the background here. Jensen Burnett and Thomas Ferrer off the track on the final lap, but at the front, no dramas at all. Spain's Bosco Arias taking a win of the weekend. The DPK Racing team back on form here after struggling in the early stages of the weekend. Well, we head over to Groups D and F for the senior category coming up next. Make sure you stay tuned for that one. Again, looking forward to seeing what's going to be happening because, again, we've got Gomez versus McLaughlin starting on the front row of that one. Gomez, who has had to concede a race win after taking 2 yesterday, was a second-place finish from earlier on. And you can see him there having a quick chat with another one of the VDK drivers. Now, it's not McLaughlin he's chatting with. He's seated in his kart. And as you can see, it's not Matt Corby who he's chatting with. Who is he chatting with there? Is it I couldn't quite see the name on the background there. Well, we'll try and find that information out. But clearly, some words of encouragement. Right, there we go. So it's the second, third, fourth, fifth one. Maybe could have been Vengard Clementson who was having a chat with. There is Gomez, lining himself up ready for this one. The CRG team, perfectly good weekend he's had so far this weekend here in Kristianstad. 2 qualifying heat wins yesterday. Second place earlier on today. Gives him 144 intermediate classification points. He does sit behind now the 2 drivers he was battling with over the course of yesterday. He was one of 3 drivers who had maximum points going into today. Himself, Dmitry Matveyev, and the driver who starts alongside him, Finn McLaughlin. McLaughlin and Matveyev, though, have both scored a win today, meaning they have still got maximum points going into this race. But McLaughlin now, this is the first time he will have raced against one of the other drivers who has had wins all weekend. There is Finn McLaughlin, who at the moment is having a superb weekend. 3 qualifying heat wins out of 3. And I'm sure just prepping himself ready for this one. The second row of the grid as well. 2 other drivers who have had challenging weekends. Vivek Kanthan, who unfortunately retired earlier on today. Hopefully looking for a better result in this one. Matt Corby starting just behind McLaughlin, a fellow VDK driver. There is a look at some of the marshals out on circuit, and we say it every race weekend, we could not go racing without the hard work and dedication from the marshalling team out there. So we do take our hats off to them every weekend, battling away in the conditions out there. It's a bit blustery, it's a bit sunny as well. That they're having to deal with. Temperature up to 22 degrees. It's actually quite a nice day out there, but still, hopefully they've got some sun cream out there because, yeah, a long day in the sun can certainly take it out of anyone out there. Kai Rillarts and Matthias Morgato starting this one on the third row of the grid. 10th place for Morgato earlier on, Kai Rillart's 5th place earlier on. So again, two very drastically different racing positions there from the drivers starting on the 3rd row of the grid. Whistle blows, engines fire up. Let's quickly take you through the starting lineup for this one. Qualifying heat D versus F. Gabriel Gomez and Finn McLaughlin start this one on the front row of the grid. They'll have Vivek Canthan and Matt Corby on row 2. Kai Rillartz and Matthias Morgato round out row 3 ahead of Joseph Smith and Vegard Clementson on row 4. It's Marcus Shilkunas and Andy Konsani from Victor Gustafsson and Leon Nilsson on the next 2 rows with Jacob Mekalev and Luna Flusher on row 7. Fabian Sturluson and Jensen Graham go from row 8. They'll have Elliot Kaczynski and Bernardo Benaldi on row 9. Mark Dubnitsky and Tord Rugstad on row 10. Alina Lirolsen and Peter Stiller go from row 11. Sophia Sanfari and Michael Adair round out the top 24 on row 12. Guillaume Bouzard and Hugo Rajamets go from row 13, ahead of Noah Wolf and Filippo Donanzan on row 14. Vilmos Svan and Noel Thunberg round out row 15. It's Sebastian Korpeng and Radek Vavra on row 16. Sebastian Hayden rounds out the 17 rows in 33rd place. Looks like all drivers have made it out onto the track, which is good to see. Drivers end their out lap, they'll begin their formation lap. And, well, this one is going to be an interesting one because we have quite a few drivers deploying a different shake of tyres. Right, so Vivek Canthan earlier on, after his DNF, he's done a front right and a rear left tyre out on track. So he's done a bit of a chop and change on that one. He's the highest driver with that. The 4th row of the grid, Joseph Smith and Vegard Clementson have both deployed tyres on the left-hand side. The question mark in this one is that we've got our first deployment fully on the right-hand side, and that comes from Michael Adair all the way in 24th place on the grid. There you can see the graphic with Vivek Canthan deploying those tyres on a staggered order. And again, for some, it does work. We have seen it over the course of some of the rounds this season with drivers deciding to, you know, chop and change a little bit of that. Usually you would find drivers going the clockwise direction of the circuit with the choice of tyre that they were deployed. Everyone so far this weekend has deployed on the left-hand side, meaning that when it is a clockwise circuit, it helps them out getting around those corners. But with one driver going for the right-hand side, now Canthan with a mix. Let's see what happens. Lights go green, we are racing, and it's a great start for Gomez, great start for McLaughlin. McLaughlin on the outside line is going to have to settle with it, but Gomez loses the lead. Gomez loses the lead, and look who gets through. It's Vivek Canthan on those brand new Maxxis tyres. He leads the way down in towards turn number 6, and already he's breaking quite a considerable gap. Down the inside they go then, in towards all the corner. Looks like Matthias Morgato's had a good start. That's a terrible start there for a one driver off the track. And I think it's the 3-1-2 that's gone off the circuit. That is a huge disaster, and frustration is, well, is coming out there understandably for the field. And that looks like that is Alina Lirolsen, unfortunately, off the track. And she is not happy. An experienced driver at this circuit, not in the category itself, very familiar with the X30 classes, not with the OK category. But certainly it's not gone well in this opening race. Canthan leads the way then and has broken away by nearly a second from Gomez behind. This is McLaughlin battling away with Morgato. Morgato has closed right in onto that rear bumper as they make their way out of turn number 6. Off the track there goes the Sodi kart of Kai Rillartz, who brings it back onto the circuit, though behind the 309 of Matt Corby. Corby getting through. And everyone having a pretty shaky start here, as I can imagine. Tyres are really becoming into play now as drivers are starting to push their way through the field. There is Canthan. Well, I don't think he's going to have any contest this race. Those tyre deployments, I think the perfect right time to deploy them. No one else around him had deployed a fresh set of tyres, indicating that he was going to have a clean, calm race. That is the perfect scenario that you want. If you deploy tyres when everyone else does, it becomes a little tricky. Down the inside, Smith gets the move done on Morgato. moves up into P4 now. Morgado on the back foot here has got Vegard Clemetson just behind. Clemetson, who we saw at the beginning of this one having a chat with Gomez. As you can see, they've kind of opened up a little bit on this one. Gomez in the lead, but Clemetson down the inside now of Morgado through turn 14. Gets through and now goes for the charge towards Joseph Smith, who has broken up a little bit of a gap now between himself and the rest of the field. On lap 4 now, and there's a look at the points very briefly of what you could expect to see at the end of this one. McLaughlin would still lead the points, but this would be a first loss for McLaughlin. It would certainly mean that Matviev would have the home field advantage because he has still got 3 wins out of 3. We're yet to see him out for his 4th qualifying heat just as of yet. Action still on this one, and well, Matt Corby looking strong here behind the rear bumper of Morgado. Clemetson's got through on both of them. Gustafsson is closing in behind as well. There you can see him in the 322 in the CRG. Certainly having a strong performance here. Joseph Smith is looking quick here now. I suspect might be start putting a little bit of worry on Finn McLaughlin, who's there in 3rd place. Certainly not fully comfortable there with the pace that Smith has got in this second half of the day, but Tor Rackstad with the fastest lap of the race, 50.836, as Gustafsson goes down the inside of Corby, now moving up into P7. So who is our biggest mover out on circuit? So I'm seeing 8 places gained for Tor Rackstad, who has just set the fastest lap of the race. Now, has Tor deployed a fresh set of tyres? The answer to that is yes, and has deployed them on the left-hand side of his kart. So that would mean why he is pushing his way through. Joseph Smith as well. It was also a person who has deployed those tyres. That's why his pace is so quick. Confirmation there, brand new set of tyres on the left-hand side of his kart as well. That was the same as Vegard Clemetson also, who is right behind him, also with a brand new set on the left-hand side, which is why they're closing in so rapidly on McLaughlin here. Now, McLaughlin, knowing that he has got the advantage of the 3 wins he had earlier on, this position still puts him in quite a considerable lead. Canthin, who has deployed, obviously, the tyres staggered on his kart on both sides, really pushing his way forward on this one. It's crucially a couple of drivers who've deployed them on the right-hand side on this one as well. Victor Gustafsson is another driver, sorry, who's deployed them on the right-hand side. And that's why we see him up into 7th place, a gaining of 4 places as well. So again, the tyres now are starting to eke their way closer, and I think for Gomez and McLaughlin, they may need to start to worry here, because if these drivers can all get past with those fresher tyres on, this may hamper their advantage. It hampers more Gomez than McLaughlin. Of course, Gomez earlier on already losing his first race of the day with that P2. Still a good result nonetheless, but still puts him more on the back foot from McLaughlin, who at the moment is pushing his way forward. So across the line they go. We go on to lap number 8 of 13. And at the moment, it's controlled. Canthin's not broken away, though, here. He leads the way. He's got a gap, half a second. But, well, I'm going to have to keep an eye on this one. Gomez was faster in every single sector on that last lap, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Clemetson now with the fastest lap of the race. He has closed in on the field. Here comes Corby down the inside of Morgado. We're waiting for that move for quite some time. Finally comes on lap number 8. He's going to try and close in to Gustafsson. Remember, though, Gustafsson with the fresh set of tyres on the right-hand side. He's looking to benefit a little bit more, maybe on the turn-in on some of the hairpins, not getting the power down on the exit of the corner, because, again, most of the hairpins here are to the right, and, of course, brand new set of tyres on the right-hand side means they'll be on the inside of his kart. So he'll have the benefit of the turn-in, not on the exit. They go through here. Canthin's still leading. 0.4 of a second is the gap. Gomez closing in. McLaughlin still there in 3rd place. Smith in fourth. Still piling in the danger there. Clementson, Gustafsson, Corby, Morgato, Rilarts, Shilkunas still the top 10. This is Gomez battling away. He is closing in on Canthon. But McLaughlin here is under pressure, and well, he's putting the pressure on Gomez here. I think he was thinking, we're not going to catch him. And now he goes down the inside, but denied at this point. McLaughlin, who's had a fiery season in multiple categories, is certainly got his dander up here, pushing his way forward. McLaughlin from Smith, still as Smith tries to close in. The gap comes down to 0.2 of a second. There's a look at the tyres here, and you can see there's a lot of green there at the front, and they've all gained places. Remember, Smith, Clementson, Gustafsson, they're up 3 places, another 3 places and 5 places each. So they've really gained positions here, the same as Canthon. He's gained 2 places as he's deployed those tyres on a staggered configuration on his kart. Front, right, rear, left on his wagon, and continues to break away. The gap back up to 0.6 of a second now after that attempt overtake from McLaughlin. So that gives just that little bit more breathing space to Canthon now to kind of focus on maintaining these brand new tyres that he's deployed. See what he can do later on in this one. And McLaughlin not able, as of yet, to get the overtake. Yeah, it stays there behind in 3rd place. Smith and Clementson have closed in now, but on each other, not on the 2 ahead. So despite their fresher tyres, they are actually in a danger zone of potentially going to battle themselves here. If they do that, of course, they'll lose all touch with these 2 ahead. McLaughlin's going for it again, though. Down the inside. Is he going to get the speed on the exit? The answer to that is no. Gomez goes back through. Big check over the shoulder there. Kind of like a stare down a little bit there from Gomez through the chicane. A little bit of contact between the 2 of them there. The speed difference through the corner. McLaughlin trying to carry so much more speed. It's feeling like he's getting held up here now from Gomez. This is going to bring Smith and Clementson in. Gomez goes defensive. McLaughlin hasn't got the traction. He can't get that kart to turn in on the exit to get the switchback. He tries it again here, and again, can't do it, stays behind. He hasn't got the traction to get the power down. He hasn't got the traction to get the turn in tighter on the exit. And this time, Gomez is wise to McLaughlin's move now and goes defensive, but that might have been his mistake there, because now Gomez is under attack, and McLaughlin goes down the inside through turn 1 as we enter onto the final lap of the race. Canthon leads the way by a second now. He's happy. Gomez, McLaughlin, Smith, Clementson still there in the top 5. But Gomez, you know, I think that's smart driving from McLaughlin there as Clementson sends it down the inside of Smith. Now that puts him into danger. Gustafsson has closed in now again. He's on the fresher tyres. Matt Corby's there as well. Corby has, I don't think, deployed fresher tyres. He is still on those used ones. But, well, into the final corner. Canthon, a perfect time to deploy those tyres. Well executed, and exactly what he needed after that DNF earlier on today. Puts him in a really good spot again, and I'm sure that is a confidence booster going into the races later on today. McLaughlin finishing in 2nd ahead of Gomez. Clementson in 4th from Smith. Gustafsson from Corby. Morgato from Rilarts. Shilkunas rounds out the top 10. McLaughlin holds on to his lead in the intermediate classification. That 2nd place is his first loss, but he has still got just below the maximum points that you can get at this point, 6 points down from a perfect score of 200. We will have to wait and see what happens later on. Dmitry Matviev has got the advantage of potentially starting on pole position tomorrow in Superheat 1. But he has still got a couple of races to go. One more race to go then for these 2 groups of DNF. We'll see them out later on today. There's a look at the provisional classifications. We've gone over the top 10. Leo Nilsson finishing in 11th place from Annie Konsani. Tor Rugstad with 7 positions gains finishes in P13, ahead of Mark Dubnitsky with a gain of 5. He finishes ahead of Peter Stiller, who also gained 7 places in that race, ahead of Michael Adair. Also 7 places gained, finishing in P17, ahead of Jensen Graham, Fabian Sturluson, Bernardo Minoldi, rounding out the top 20. Then it's Vilmos Farm with a gain of 8 places ahead of Hugo Regimets. Guillaume Bazar in 23rd place from Sundberg. Then it's Vavra, Hayden, Dananzan, Kaczynski and Korpeng. Safir Zanfari rounds out the 30 finishers in that race. The retirements, well, we didn't see this one. Luna Flusha, unfortunately, retiring in that race in the last couple of laps. Noah Wolf, also a retirement. We didn't see that. That was in the early stages of the race as well as Alina Lirolsen. We did see that retirement. But yes, clearly not a good start. And that is, well, really bad news actually for Noah Wolf, because that is another really bad result for him. He is in danger of not getting to the superheats tomorrow. A look at the highlights here, and well, initially the start, the two at the front there nearly going into each other there, wheel-to-wheel action between the top two. But it would be Canthan who would get the lead of the race into the chicane, getting past both of the front rows. Canthan from the second row of the grid, with those fresh set of tyres deployed, staggered on his wagon. He would lead and would go on to lead the entire race for that one, no drama. There was the disaster for Alina Lirolsen, and well, she's clearly very frustrated there, not happy at all with what happened. And yeah, unsure about what had happened on the circuit. I don't see any warning flags that came out there or investigations, so I'm sure race control will have seen that one and deemed no one at fault. Down the inside, Joseph Smith going out and down the inside of Matis Morgato in the early stages of that one. Morgato dropping down a little bit, finishing in P8, but still nonetheless a good result, better than what had happened earlier on today when he dropped down to P10. This was Victor Gustafsson starting to make moves, the driver who had deployed a fresh set of tyres on the right-hand side of his kart. Started to make the moves up in the latter stages. The same as Vegard Clementson as well, who finished 21st earlier on. Finishes P4 this time, so that is a much better race, Vegard Clementson. This is where it started to get interesting. Right, so that was the first attempt for McLaughlin. This was attempt number 2. This time, Gomez was able to get the run on the inside, was able to get the switch back and get that one done. Then the next lap, Gomez would go defensive into the final corner, and that would give the switch around for McLaughlin, which allowed him to go down the inside line here on the final lap of the race. So a defensive line there sometimes isn't always the best, especially at hairpins. Gomez taking full responsibility for that one. But for Vivek Canthan, superb race. His first win of the weekend after a DNF earlier on. He can be happy with that one. Helps him out in the intermediate classifications. A lot of work is ahead of him though, as he sorts himself out for the rest of the racing. We'll turn our attention now to Groups A versus C for the OK Junior category. They are coming up next, and well, eyes are going to be focused on Dries van Langendonk in this one. Once again, starting on pole position, the fastest driver in time qualifying in Group A, 150 intermediate classification points to his name. He has won every single race so far this weekend. Can he keep up this momentum going into the last couple of races for him? He's still got a lot of work to do here. Boris Lysen, who starts alongside, 5th place earlier on. There you can see him in the Sodi kart there in the front of your screen. We'll have the close company of Dean Hugendorn starting just behind. Hugendorn, 2nd place earlier on. Very good result, and one to keep an eye on. Same as Bruno Greek. Greek dropping down to 15th place in the race earlier on, so he's got a bit of work ahead of him in this one. A look then at the grid, and tyres certainly coming into play for this one. No one in the top 5 rows have deployed. The 6th row downwards, there's quite a few of them. but Louis Cochet and Gustavo da Silva have both deployed them on the left-hand side of their kart. Everyone choosing to go the left-hand side of their kart, as well as we take another look at the marshals out on circuit again, ready to get going for their next race as well. Engines fire up. Let's take you through the starting lineup. OK Junior qualifying heat A versus C. Coming up, it's Theresa Langendonk and Boris Lysen on the front row of the grid. Dean Hugendorn and Bruno Greek on row 2, ahead of Oliver Kinmark and William Kalesia on row 3. Kenzo Craigie and Christian Costoya go from row 4. They have Casper Reipold and Rocco Coronel on row 5. Louis Cochet and Gustavo da Silva round out the top 12 on row 6. They've both deployed fresh set of tyres on the left-hand side. Kanishk Rao and Jack Eiliff go from row 7. Endo Arata and Remy Samchek round out row number 8. Jarek Clark and Roman Kamiab. Then it's Makasevalev and Vladimir Ivanikov. It's Kendis, Alexander Uznim and James Anagnostianis on row 11. They've got Francois Kerdel and Jesse Phillips on row 12. Amir Sabarov and Sky Parker go from row 13. Jakob Veng and Filippo Pancotti go from row 14. It's Carlo Leon and Alexander Dahlstrom on row 15. Tobias Jenny and Ebi Razum, with Mero Peldis rounding out the 33 kart field. Everyone is out on circuit, which is good to see. So let's see what happens then in this race. Baglin at the moment leading the intermediate classifications, but you have to remember that Yves van Langendonk, with those 3 wins, sits on 150. A win here would bump him up to 200 points. And quite a considerable advantage from the rest of the field. He is the only driver at the moment who has, really pushed himself forward in these races, not had to really struggle with any other drivers. That's no disrespect to any other driver out there. He's just been on form this weekend and has been able to outperform every other driver so far this weekend. Remember, though, he's not deployed a fresh set of tyres. Drivers behind him have. And, well, he's surrounded by others who also haven't deployed, so it might be okay. We'll just have to see what happens. Into the tram lines, are we going racing? The answer to that is yes. Who gets the whole shot in towards turn 1? It's going to be Van Langendonk as he sweeps to the lead. Hugendorn holds on to second place as Lysen slots into third as they make their way through the chicane. And a spin for Rocco Coronel in the middle of the chicane. And the rest of the field has to take avoiding action. That is a disaster for Rocco Coronel, the driver who sits second in the championship, is out of one of these qualifying heats. And what does that mean for him? Because he does not sit anywhere within the top 8 in the intermediate classification, and he's out. He is out of this race. A DNF will throw the spanner in the works for Rocco Coronel. The race continues though, and it's still Van Langendonk who leads the way. And as you can see there, the gap is opened up. Down the inside comes Costoya. Costoya, taking a win earlier on, is looking to see what he can do in this one. Well, Van Langendonk's lead, 0.6 of a second. Remember, that is on used tyres. He has not deployed them. The same can be said for Hugendorn, Lysen, Kinmark, Costoya, Craigie, Greek and Eiliff as well. It's Cochet and Da Silva, the only other drivers who have deployed them. Well, they've struggled in this one. Cochet's good. Kalesia also has a brand new set of tyres as well. And that wasn't on my screen on that one. So we'll keep an eye on that, seeing if he pulls up any more positions in this. Eyes on Costoya. He's getting good positions in this early stages here. He's right on that rear bumper of Boris Lysen. Lysen as well, who's had some good results. Like you say, P5 earlier on, is going for the move down the inside there of Kinmark. Gets through. Here comes Craigie. He's going to try and get his move done down the inside as well on Kinmark. And Kinmark slams that door closed. Denies the chance to get past through turn number 1. It's a tricky turn to do it on. Costoya down the inside of Lysen now moves up into third. As the race continues down in towards turn number 6. Here comes Kinmark again, back on Lysen. And again, this is what we're talking about. These are all drivers who are on pretty used tyres here. Everyone just pushing themselves forward. And again, just trying to, well, maintain as many positions as they can. Of course, all this squabbling, though, it will bring those drivers with the fresher tyres into play. We'll keep an eye on that one, and it does allow Van Langendonk, Hoogendoorn to break away. They are clear by some time now. Van Langendonk's clear by a whole second. There you can see the 50 points for Van Langendonk would give him 200 maximum points to his name. But we'll see what happens here. Hoogendoorn, though, at the front of this one, is not having the most of comfortable races here because Costoya is right behind him. You can see that's just ahead of these three still battling. No change between these ones here. There is Costoya going for the move on Hoogendoorn, and the moves in the back as well. Backwards would go Kinmark. So both Hoogendoorn and Kinmark have lost places there. But Costoya looking very strong right now. Is he strong enough, though, to close a 1.2 second lead against himself and Van Langendonk? Van Langendonk here has obviously picked a good time not to deploy the tyres. He still had everyone around him not deploying them. Of course, there's always that sense of, you know, later on today, maybe in the final race, we could see drivers deploy half a set of them. We just don't know. We have to wait and see. Replay here of the start. Good getaway for Van Langendonk. No drama for him. Where is Rocco Coronel, though? There he is on your screen. And what happens? Well, a little bit of a sandwich there. And, well, a big amount of dust there and everyone having to avoid. But the biggest loser on that one, unfortunately, is Rocco Coronel. He's out of this race. And who was he around at that point of the track? Well, he had Gustavo da Silva for company. And he had Louis Cochet around that area, as well as Casper Reipold. But certainly a question mark on that one. There was another angle of it, and yeah, big moment there at the start of that race. We're on lap 6 at the moment. Van Langendonk still leads. Gaps increasing, 1.4 seconds. Costoya, confirmation of that one, has not got the pace to close that gap. Costoya is still there. Hoogendoorn in 3rd place. Leisen in 4th. This is the battle that we're watching here on your screen. Craigie still there in position. This is a little further back in the order now. Down the inside comes one of the Fusion carts there. That, I believe, is Makar Savalev on Jack Iliff getting through. It is indeed the battle for P12 kicking off. Back here with Costoya. And a look at what he's achieved so far in this race. Started this one P8. Well back in the field in that one. Of course, starting on the outside of the 4th row. 2nd place in his race earlier on, and he has gained a staggering 8th place in this one. Currently P2 in this as well. But again, the pace increasing. He's not able to close that gap up at the moment. And, well, there, confirmation. Dries Van Langendonk, fastest driver on circuit. And that's with used tyres as well. That just shows how much he's looked after them over the course of this one. You've got drivers out in this race who have deployed fresh sets, who are not getting the fastest lap of the race. That is a testament to how much he has held on to those tyres. Gap now 1.6 seconds between himself and Costoya. Hoogendoorn and Leisen. His gap's closing in now. Boris Leisen is only a couple of tenths behind here. 3 tenths to be exact. As he checks over the shoulder here. You can see the impending danger that is looming over his shoulder. Big hit of the curb there for Leisen in the apex of turn 2. Clipping it through that chicane. And Langendonk again with the fastest lap of the race is still breaking away here. As we maintain this race distance here, we're on lap 8 of 11. Look back further in the field, biggest movers. Sky Parker up into P15, 11 places gained. Tobias Legenny has gained 15 places as well, is up into P16. Some drivers have also struggled in this one. We've also had other retirements. Bruno Greek has retired from this race, and actually James Anagnostiadis is starting to receive blue flags here as well. He's going around in 31st place. He's had a terrible start, same as Vladimir Ivanikov and Jakob Vung as well, who's unfortunately also not had a good start to his race either. Again, consistency here from Dries van Langendonk. Here is a replay. Not sure what we were seeing there, but Van Langendonk leading the way. Fastest lap of the race again, 51.492. Purple in sector 1 as well. Gap increasing to 1.9 seconds. Here's a look. Oof, very sideways moment there for Kenzo Craigie out of the final hairpin. And again, I mean, that's down to those used tyres there. I mean, it's getting to that stage now of the weekend that maybe it's time to think about deploying a fresher set maybe for the next race later on today. Of course, the challenge really builds up there. There you can see the tyre usage. Cochet in 10th place is the highest ranked driver on the fresh set, and Cochet has only gained 1 spot, so the deployment of the tyres in this hasn't gone as well as what it did in the previous race of what we saw there. So drivers now really needing to focus here, and all the drivers at the front, so many who haven't deployed and have still got really quick pace, just a testament to how much they've looked after them. Hoogendoorn still in front of Leisen. We've been keeping an eye on this battle for the pretty much the whole of this race. We have not seen any change between those two. We go on to the final lap though, and Van Langendonk leads the way. Clear now by nearly 2 seconds from Costoya. Been an absolute masterclass from the young Belgian, who is looking to take maximum points this weekend. Van Langendonk, who sits 3rd in the championship, scored no points in Slovakia. If you cast your mind back, didn't even make the final in Slovakia. Valencia was a good round for him. Near maximum points in the qualifying heats and the super heats. Didn't score too well in the final, but still a good result nonetheless. Up in the top 5. This weekend, he's open for maximum points all the way throughout, and so far, he's seeing that across the line. Dries van Langendonk makes it 4 out of 4 qualifying heat wins. 200 points to his name. Now leads the intermediate classifications with 1 more race to go for him. He is in line to take those 25 championship points and pole position for Super Heat 1 tomorrow. Baglin still 2nd. Costoya with that P2 bumps him up to 3rd in the intermediate classifications. Joint 2nd, joint on points with Baglin. But with Baglin, of course, out-qualifying Costoya, he would lead out of the 2 of them. Pocolo with 168 from Martinez and Marsh. And, of course, there Martinez and Marsh on the same points. Martinez out-qualifying Scott Marsh, which is why he sits higher up in the order. Well, Van Langendonk takes the win then ahead of Christian Costoya. Dean Hoogendoorn from Boris Leisen. Kenzo Craigie finishing in P5 ahead of Oliver Kinmark. Casper Reipold from William Kalesia in P8. Endo Arata finishing in 9th place with a gain of 6 places. Finishes ahead of Louis Cochet in P10. Jarrett Clark finishing in P11 after gaining 6 places. Jack Iliff from Gustavo da Silva. Makar Savalev finishing ahead of Sky Parker, who rounds out the top 15, a gain of 11 places. 16th place sees Tobias Jenny gaining 15 places ahead of Kanish Rao, Ansor Karel. Then it's Remy Samchek from Amir Sabrov, Alexander Dahlstrom from Roma Kamiab, Jesse Phillips from Alexander Uznin, Filippo Pancotti from Merrill Peldis, Carlo Leon from Ebi Razum, Jakob Vung from Vladimir Ivanikov. The 30 finishers. Retirements coming in from that one through. Retirements, James Anagnostiidis, Bruno Greek and Rocco Coronel. But there on your screen, Dries van Langendonk, maximum points. I'm sure will not be satisfied though until he knows he's got that pole position for tomorrow. Make sure you stay tuned for that one. One more race to go for these classes. Let's take you through the highlights for this grid. And well, for the start of that one, no dramas there for Van Langendonk. Drama though here, unfortunately, for Rocco Coronel. A little bit of contact there while going into the corner. Just loaded him there, and unfortunately a full rotation, and he would go round. No investigations out or warning flags, so I'm sure that's still being looked at the moment. There you can see, yeah, that was a really good angle of that there. You can see the rotation, and good stuff from the drivers behind, all managing to avoid any contact on the exit there, having to take to the runoff. Early stages, Costoya making the moves. 6 places gained in that race. He would finish in P2. First trying to get past Lysen in the early stages. There you can see Boris Lysen in the 121 going down the inside of Oliver Kinmark. That gave both positions there to Lysen. Would push himself up. Later on, Costoya fighting back down the inside would retake both of those positions, pushing himself up in the latter stages of this race. Kinmark again on the charge. This was all in the early stages, and this was a real squabble that we saw between these top drivers, and that kind of again gave a little hope to the drivers behind whether or not they could close in, but well, battles from them as well resulted in no gaps closing in. Unfortunately for them, they would stay in formation for the majority of it. Boris Lysen certainly having a good battle. This was a real tense moment there for Kenzo Craigie. Great kart control, not to run too wide there, but at the end of it, Dorisan Langendonk would take his 4th win out of 4, maximum points to his name, and he heads into the next race on top and the favourite for pole position tomorrow. We're going to take a short ad break. Don't go anywhere. Seniors are coming up next for Groups A and C.
Racing Spirit was born out of the need to create a clothing line that could embody the passion and the experience that OMP gathered and cultivated working alongside the most successful racing teams of the last 50 years. Racing Spirit garments are made by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. They can be worn every day in leisure time, but especially on race venues, from the paddock of the hottest Formula One races to the service parks of winter rallies in all weather conditions. Racing Spirit offers a complete range of clothing and accessories for men and women, designed and developed in Italy, combining aesthetics, comfort, and functionality. Because of these features, it is the brand of choice of several prestigious motorsport outfits and organizations. Racing Spirit is the meeting point between high quality and Italian style, as well as the introduction of sustainable materials and innovation, such as the use of graphene. Racing Spirit offering comes with 4 options: cutting-edge designs and customization techniques. Lifestyle is a line of garments ideal for everyday and leisure wear, with refined style and innovative materials. Crew are custom garments of the highest quality that strengthen the visual identity of the team or organization. For instance, the choice of Skoda Motorsport and Dallara. Corporate is a full custom designed clothing line for sizable organizations, such as Toyota Racing Development. Finally, the Teamwear line for maximum creative freedom uses sublimation printing technology derived from OMP's racing experience. Similarly to the other Racing Force Group brands, Racing Spirit shares the same DNA of competing to be the first and ultimately become the reference in the market.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Champions of the Future Round 4. As you can see, the next race coming up very, very soon. The OK Qualifying Heat A versus C will be the next one out on the track. And all the drivers right now really pushing themselves in this latter stage of the race. Let's have a look who's going to be racing in this one. Dmitry Matveyev, well, he is the one that can really take it here to Finn McLaughlin. Of course, he has got the maximum points going off all the way throughout this weekend. He's had win after win after win. There he is on your screen. And absolutely fantastic qualifying for him as well. Fastest in time qualifying with that new lap record set as well. His pace has most definitely been on it this weekend for the Kart Republic team. There you can see him getting himself primed and ready for this one. He's got some challenges around him, though, for the start of this. One in the form of Zach Drummond, who starts alongside him, second place in his race earlier on today. Thibaut Ramekers as well, third place earlier on also. So again, another driver who you do need to keep an eye on. Davide Potaro finishing in P5. One driver who has impressed this weekend as well comes from the third row, Scott Lindblom, the Swedish driver. Win earlier on, certainly made good progress earlier on as well. Be curious to see what he can do in this one. We are moments away from seeing that green flag, which we now get. Engines fire up as we get ready to go racing. Let's take you through the starting lineup for this one. Dmitry Matviev and Zach Drummond go from row number 1. Can Matviev get those maximum points going into this one? Ramekers and Botaro go from row 2. David Walter and Scott Lindblom round out row 3 ahead of Grayson Skulinov and Slimana on row 4. Lewis Werrell and Tiziano Monza go from row 5. Freddie Lloyd and Jakub Kamenek round out row 6. Murilo De Rocca and Emili Koivisto go from row 4. They'll have Aaron Garcia and Hugo Marti on row 8. Tame Soleil and Maria Neto round out row 9. They'll have Marcus Juncia and David Cosma on row 10. They round out the top 20. Dominic Simak and Ian Eichmans go from row 11. They'll have Augustin Sepulveda and Alexander Spetz on row 12. Miguel Costa and Kai Hunter on row 13. They'll have Mark Brovko and Leon Brunner on row 14. Louis Aguirre and Hatian Deng go from row 15. Rounding out the top 13, Nico Lanhalate and Theodore Bergerson rounds out row 16. Eli Auden and Ilias Kivisto round out the 34 kart grid. All drivers out on track. A look then at the intermediate classifications. There you can see it on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. McLaughlin at the lead of that one at the moment from Gomez, Elias Peschel, Turney and Matviev. There though, Matviev with 150. A race win here puts him on 200 points and would be the outright leader and the driver favourite to start on pole tomorrow. They have got another qualifying heat after this one, of course. So they've still got a bit of work to do. But right now, there is tension starts to build here because, well, Drummond's in a position here to really put it in the favour of the likes of McLaughlin and Gomez. As any drop of positions here for Matviev would certainly put everyone back on a level playing field, but I'm sure Matviev is going to try and nail this start as it's not started in the background there. We are going round again. Now, who went round? I think that was Maria Neto who was rotated there on the start-finish line. It was the treble 3, Maria Neto, out of this race. It looks like she's not even going to attempt to restart it. Now, what on earth happened there? Because that happened so quickly, it may just be a case of just getting pinched. So where is Maria Neto? Now, she was starting this one a little further down the order. There you can see, yeah, again, I think it was just pinched there. Well, that is not good at all. And, well, there you can see, I think just no movement is, I think, just a sign of pure disbelief of what on earth happened there. And, well, that is a huge shame for Maria Neto. Graphic there on your screen, nobody in the top 10 has deployed a new set of tyres yet. So there we go, the front 5 rows. No one yet to deploy them, so everyone's still on pretty used tyres here. I mean, they're going into their, well, this is their 4th race that they're going on to now. Here is Freddie Lloyd. You can see him there and his tyres there. Freddie Lloyd, who starts this one on the 6th row of the grid in 11th place. Those tyres look very well used at the moment, and like I said, they've got a bit of life in them yet. Otherwise, he wouldn't have deployed them. He'd have changed them. Here we go then, back into the tram lines. Are we good for racing this time? Yes, we are. Great start for Matviev. Better start for Drummond as he holds on to 3rd place. Ramekers gets into 2nd place. David Walter holds on to P4 as they filter their way down. There's karts off the track. One of them's the DPK, and it's the 296 that's all gone wrong. And that is Aaron Garcia, who's had a nightmare there in towards turn 4. He's going to pull it off the circuit. I can see it out the commentary box window. I'll keep you updated on it if we can get it restarted. back at the front, though, and it's still a clean breakaway, but Ramekers is right on that rear bumper in the opening stage of this race. Another driver off the track, and this time it's the Sodi of the 294 that is off the circuit, and that is a disaster. The 294, I'm trying to figure out who that is at the moment. They're a little higher up in the order, and it was Nico Lanalate. Nico Lanalate, unfortunately, out of this race. Tries to get it restarted, not going to happen. That's it. He's out. Oh, dear me, there at the recovering. Well, Aaron Garcia nearly got a little bit more involved than I think he'd like to there at the corner. Thankfully, though, everyone okay. Change here, though, at the lead. For the first time this weekend, Ramekers takes the lead of a qualifying heat here. The driver who leads the championship, the winner of round 2 this season, is leading the way in this qualifying heat. Now, this puts the ball into the court of McLaughlin. He's joint on points now with McLaughlin, but Drummond could have something to say about this. If Drummond can get past Matveev, it would favour Finn McLaughlin. But again, that is a tall order, because Matveev's pace this weekend has been absolutely phenomenal. But at this point of the weekend, like he was saying, yet to deploy those fresh tyres. Has he hit them a bit too hard in the early stages, maintaining that lead? Well, Ramekers at the moment leads it by 0.3 of a second from Matveev. Drummond right there behind. He's pretty close, I could say. If he was going to go for the move, he could possibly think about it on the next lap. Not close enough into the final corner this time. We've seen many overtakes into that corner. You can see the real estate they've got between themselves and Davide Bottaro just behind. Bottaro, Lindblom, Volta, all in the train behind as well. We'll keep a close eye on that one. Silimena, Lloyd and Monza. Werrell rounding out the top 10 at the moment. Fastest driver on circuit comes from Hugo Marti, who is in 3rd place. Now can confirm at this point that we said the top 10 in this race hadn't deployed new tyres. There were a few deployed in the background. Marti was one of them on the right-hand side of his kart, or the left-hand side of his kart, and is pushing his way up through the field now. See if he can really push right to the top. We'll look at more of that a little bit later on in the race. Here, though, we're watching Lindblom battle away with Bottaro. He's managed to get past now and up into P4. Scott Lindblom, who won his race earlier on, he's in a position now to maybe throw in some damage here to the drivers up ahead. There, though, Walter, Lloyd, all going through. But Lindblom, Bottaro, still eyes focused. Another fastest lap there for Hugo Marti. Here's a replay here. Now, is this what happened to Nico Lanalate? Oh, dear, and that is very unfortunate. That is so unfortunate for Nico Lanalate. Unfortunately, a mere passenger. And this moment here, wow, that was close. That was close. And thankfully, just avoided that one. Huge moment there for Alexander Spets. Big hit of that curb as well. That's got to be a little bit painful there for his backside, but I'm sure we'll find at the moment. Eyes on this one here as we continue watching Drummond, who's not been able to pile on the pressure too much here to Matveev. You can see there the gap is opening up a little bit between the two of them, and Lindblom, with the fastest lap of the race, is closing in on Drummond. Maybe Lindblom could do something here to affect Matveev. Here is a change. Oh, wow, that's a hefty bit of damage to the back of that 263 there. That's Hugo Marti, the driver who has been making positions. And, well, it's heavy damage to his front nose. He has been involved in quite a moment there. Heavy damage to the front and rear of his kart. So, well, with that huge dent in the front, that is possibly a nose cone penalty going his way as well. There's a look further back as well. Thames Soleil, new tyres as well. David Cosma also new tyres. Actually, no, I think it's Martin Junscher there with the new tyres. David Cosma with the new tyres as well. As I think Aaron also with the fresher set down the inside. Comes the Falcon kart there of Emili Koivisto. Koivisto under pressure though. So having a retirement earlier on, losing out here as through goes everyone trying to get past right now. And there you can see Miguel Costa trying to gain the positions here, looking to the inside, wheel to wheel, and contact between the two of them. That nose cone just getting folded in there. I think you'll be okay with that one in terms of if it dropped or not. But because it wasn't a hit from the front, contact from the side there, just folded it in, but it's still in good form. Ramakas still leads the way. I want to say Matviev is closing in because the gap's back down to 0.3 of a second now, and it's closed in even more. Lindblom now with the fastest lap of the race is closing in even closer, so Zach Drummond here. And with the time that we've got left, we're on lap 8 of 13. Lindblom could do damage here on Matviev if he gets close enough. Again, Matviev is really relying on holding on to second place here. This would be Matviev's first loss of the weekend. As you can see there from the graphic, he's joint on points from McLaughlin. Another position loss, and he'll drop down the order. Retirement there, out of the race, and that is Graysim Skulinov. And that is a huge, huge shock for Skulinov, because that is another retirement in this weekend. Brings it to 2. And, well, that is a disaster. Will not be happy with that at all, and that could risk knocking them out of the top 72. Lindblom with the move down the inside on Drummond. And, well, that was a robust way through. Drummond wasn't expecting it. And Lindblom gets up into third place now. We're on lap 9 of 13. The gap between Lindblom and Ramakas, or is Ramakas now in second place? But Viev's got it back into the lead. I hadn't even noticed. So a change for the lead, and Matviev now leads it. So this puts him back on the top. 200 points to his name if he can hold it. He's managed to have the pace. Ramakas in the early stages pushed strongly. He got that position fair and square. But right now, he needs to control it. Now Matviev with the fastest lap of the race. The Maxi's tyres here are showing that they have got true pace in the latter stages. These tyres have been used for time qualifying. They've been used for now, well, this is their 4th qualifying heat of the weekend. That is a fair chunk of laps they have done on these tyres. Been absolutely used and abused right now. But we'll see what happens here as they continue to set fastest lap after fastest lap. Off the track, well, it's Emili Koivisto, unfortunately. And I think he may have had a coming together with Kai Hunter, because both of them have tumbled down the order. And Koivisto, no, in fact, I'm going to eat my words there. I think Kai Hunter may have just had a transponder issue, because he's just jumped straight back up to 21st place. But Emili Koivisto, and that is another retirement as well. He had a retirement earlier on also. So drivers in this latter stage of the weekend are now really in a danger zone, with a couple of them now with retirements in 2 races. Matviev from Ramakas, Lindblom from Drummond. This is the Botaro-Walter battle that you've got on your screen. This is for P5. You can see them, they're just cresting the hill in the background as we go on to lap 12, penultimate lap of the race. Is this potentially what happened to Emili Koivisto?
The car 331 hit 238, and the 238 stopped.
Ah, right. So, confirmation there of how Graysim Skulinov was forced out of this race. Contact with another. So there we go. We're seeing drama there. Now we're seeing a little bit more drama, because it's just popped up on my timing screen. A technical flag, and that technical flag is going to the 263, and that, I believe, is Hugo Marti, the privateer who deployed the fresher tyres earlier on, and we saw his kart with the heavy damage on the front, and most importantly, the heavy damage on the rear. I think it's been deemed now unsafe to continue with that much damage on his kart. And, well, he'll have to bring it back into the pit lane, and he'll be out of this race. We're on the final lap of this race, though. Matviev leads the way and has reopened that gap up to 0.7 of a second between himself and Ramekers. Lindblom is there in third place, has done a brilliant job to try and close in, but he is not close enough just yet. He is in a position right now to do damage, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Dmitry Matviev, he's going to cross the line. He's going to make it 4 out of 4. Maximum points at this stage of the weekend is exactly what he wants. He has got one more race to go, but he is looking to be the favourite going in to pole position tomorrow for Superheat 1 and to claim those 25 championship points. He is going to shake up this order here because Ramekers, who sits 7th, who leads the championship, is going to be under pressure here now because Gomez, who's in a good spot, it's close. Turney as well, who's in a good spot in the championship standings and the intermediate classifications as well. Sits a little further down, but he'll be out later on today. He'll gain those more points again, but it's a top and turvy one. It's going to be an interesting one. Matviev takes the win then ahead of Ramekers, Lindblom from Drummond, Volta from Botaro. Then it's Salimhana from Freddie Lloyd. Werrell finishes in P9 ahead of Tiziano Monza. Jakub Kamenek finishes in P11 ahead of Hugo Marti, who did take the checkered flag, despite that technical flag that did go out for him. Tame Soleil finishing in 13th place from David Cosmo, gained 6 places in P14. Miguel Costa, 10 places gained in that one, finishing inside the top 15. Marcus Juncia and Augustine Sepulveda finishing in 17th place. Leon Brunner, also 10 places gained, finishes in P18. Alexander Spets finishing in 19th place out of Kai Hunter. Elias Scavisto finishing in P21, 13 places gained. Leviarin also finishing in 22nd place, 11 places gained ahead of Brovko, Simonek, De Rocca, Eichmanns, Caruso and Bergerson. Then rounding out the 29 finishers. And, well, 5 retirements in that one. Kavisto, Skulinov, Garcia, Neto and Lanalate. Here's a look at the starts on board here in the early stages of that race. A superb getaway for the lead drivers and for all of them here. Scott Lindblom certainly having a really strong show. You can see him there just in front going for the move down the inside. A superb start in that early stage of the race. This was the dramatic moment there, and well, that was how Grayson Skulinov, well, no, so that's Aaron Garcia going off the track, but it was Grayson Skulinov who had the initial contact there, and that's why he was going very slowly in the background. I think it was Grayson Skulinov. It may have been another DBK. It might have been Murillo De Rocca who had gone off the track there. Early stages then, and over the start-finish line, good gains had been made from the field. This was the, well, moment we lost Nico Lanalate, unfortunately. No fault of his own through that one. Caught out in an incident between others, and yes, unfortunately, not the result he will have wanted. And that very, very close moment there for him certainly would have made things very interesting. Ramekers taking the lead on lap 2. And I thought that was going to be signed, sealed and done because it'd broken away. I didn't think we were going to see Matviev close that gap back up. Lindblom started to make the moves as well, just behind, as well as others as well. You can see the Prema card of Salimhana making the moves also just in the background, pushing in the early stages. And again, as the race progressed on, we started to see gaps close in thick and fast. There was the reason why I think the technical flag came out for Hugo Marti. You can see the heavy damage on board there. Risky moment there for Miguel Costa as well, but 10 places gained, still a good result nonetheless for him, as again going absolutely wheel to wheel with the rest of them. Emilio Koivisto was a retirement. As you can see, he's off the track here. This, though, is how we lost Grayson Skulinov, and as you can see down the inside, the 3-3-1 there making contact, and unfortunately not what you want to see at all. And yes, that was Kai Hunter, so I was saying he was around that same area, and that was how we lost Grayson Skulinov there. Was Emilio Koivisto out of the race as well. But for Dmitry Matveyev. That is 4 out of 4. 200 points to his name. And the favourite in the senior category to take those 25 championship points. Well, we'll head over now to qualifying heat D versus E. That is the next one coming out on to the circuit. We now start to get into the last heat phase of the weekend. Everyone now has had 4 qualifying heats. We now go into the 5th and final round of it. And this is going to be a tense time, I think, for these drivers. There you can see the field getting themselves sorted out. Iskander Solfakari, you can see lined up there on the front row. Zhang Jose starting alongside 7th place and a 6th earlier on in the races. Again, is looking to get a better start this time around and seeing what it can do from this one. Bosco Arias as well on the 2nd row of the grid. Keep an eye. Really good result earlier on. Again, puts himself in a really prime position. Filippo Sala as well on that 2nd row. A fellow Ricky Flynn Motorsport driver who finished P4 earlier on. Whistle blows, karts make their way out onto the circuit. Let's take you through the full starting lineup. Iskander Solfakari and Zhang Jose round out row number 1. They'll have Bosco Arias and Filippo Sala on row 2. Archie Lovett and Jacopo Martinez round out row number 3. They'll have Jean-Matteo Rousseau and Kerria Fairhan on row 4. Sebastian Letamaki and Roland Nagy. They'll have Harrison Maggie and Manuel Miguez on row 6. Jensen Burnett and Simas Bashuska going from row 7. Mika Runitz and Herbertus Palm go from row 8. It's Drew Voltz and Melvin Kalustian on row 9. Georgi Zanzov and Clara Kowalczyk going from row 10. Kowalczyk needs a good result in this last race. Retirements earlier on in 2 races today. Augustus Toniolo, I should say, starting on the 11th row. We'll have Florentine Hattemer alongside. Sonia B from Asher Osteen. Alex Brunner from Marco Gas. Ludwig Muzzi from Benjamin Manak. Hampus Holmberg and Maximus Unt from Christopher Nita. And Devin Grabko, who rounds out the 16 rows and 32 kart field. Everyone is out on the track. Reminder of the intermediate classifications in the juniors. Well, Dries van Langendonk leads it at the moment. 200 points to his name. Baglin sits 2nd. We've seen them out earlier on. We'll see them out later on today. Kostoya sits 3rd. We'll see him out later on. Pokela also later on sits P4. Martinez and Marsh are 5 and 6. Now, Jacopo Martinez is in this race. He starts this one on the 3rd row of the grid. 165 points to his name. A win here will help him out and would potential with a capital P here, put him in a good spot if the rest of the drivers all have a bad result, but that's very unlikely. So he can do what he can here, but certainly P5, he may be able to grab a couple of extra positions. Iskander Solfakari sits 7th in the intermediate classification with 164. He starts on pole. Can he get a benefit from this one as we go racing? And it is a good start from Iskander Solfakari. Holds on to the race lead here as they go through the chicane. A good start as well for Jacopo Martinez. You saw him go wheel to wheel there with another through the chicane there, and amazingly they both get through unscathed. The DPK kart is up into 3rd place. That's Bosco Arias. He's holding on to his original starting spot as they make their way through. Zhang Jose's dropped down into P4, I believe, and it looks like it's potentially Filippo Sala who's got through. One of the DPKs off the track in the background there. That could have been Roland Nagy going wide, I think it was. He had a retirement earlier on. He does not want another retirement right now. Back through they go. There is Jean-Matteo Rousseau going through your shot as well. The special delivery DP kart racing kart there, pushing himself forward in the early stages of this race. Across the lane they go. It's Solfakari from Sala, Alias from Zhang Jose, Martinez from Lovett, Rousseau, Letamaki, Ferhan, Mackie, the top 10. Drivers who have not had a good start in this race. Well, everyone's had a pretty decent start, actually. Some drivers losing only 1 or 2 positions. There, the tyre graphic. Everyone has deployed near on brand new set of tyres on their kart in this one. Now's the time, and they've all deployed it on the left-hand side. So nearly everyone going for the same. couple of drivers who haven't deployed them yet because they potentially deployed them earlier on in the weekend. Action here, though. All of these drivers in the same sort of situation now. More rubber going down on the circuit, make it grippier and grippier. Air temperature at the moment here is up to 22 degrees. It stayed an absolutely lovely day for racing. Lovely blue sky over the circuit here in southern Sweden. And there was concern going into this weekend about potential rain, but there has been no drama for that over the course of this weekend so far. And yeah, everyone is enjoying these lovely racing conditions here. Zulfikari leads the way then from Arias. Sala there in third place. He's still had a good start in this one, pushing himself up. Now, Archie Lovett's just set the fastest lap of the race. Lovett's is currently in P6, so he's at the back of this group. He's only down one spot here. Well, grass tracking there. Wow, that was a big moment there for the number 50 of Manuel Maguez. That was incredible kart control to hold on to that spot, but he does drop down to P17, loses several positions. There's Martinez down the inside. That's a change for third place. This is a crucial one here now. Remember, Van Langdonk leads. It's got 200 points. These drivers are just eking over 200 points right now. With that move there, Martinez now has 206 intermediate classification points in their last race today. So Zulfikari has 214, leading the way at the moment. So basically, it would mean that if Van Langdonk, well, retired effectively from his race, Zulfikari could be in a spot here of potentially starting on pole, but again, it's a long shot because there are still a lot of races to go here, ladies and gentlemen, and so many more drivers have still got their last race to do of the day, which will affect that intermediate classification. But they are doing everything they can right now to really benefit them, and that's not gone well at all. Two drivers off the track in this one, and that is Roland Nagy and Ludwig Mudzi. Unfortunately, Mudzi with the on top of Nagy. Looks like both drivers are okay. That is at turn number 9, and both of them out. How did that happen? And keep an eye on them here. Down the inside, all just gets ridden up over the top of, and well, that was unfortunate. It was a pinch point there. You could see that they'd ridden up onto the back of Alex Brunner's DPK kart there, and the number 55. And just absolutely nowhere, and Nagy actually ending on top of Ludwig Mudzi's kart there. So big shame. Both of them out of this race. Zulfikari still leads. 0.4 of a second, though, is the gap between himself and Bosco Arias. It's a close gap. There is still potential here between these two. We'll keep an eye on this one as Martinez still there in third place. There is a look at Martinez. He's had a good run in this. Started P6, 3 places gained, running in third place. And again, he is a driver who has deployed a fresh set of tyres, as well as, well, everyone in the top 7 rows deployed a brand new set of left tyres. The 8th row did not deploy any. And then the 9th row to the 11th row all deployed fresh set of tyres on the left-hand side. The 12th row didn't do it. And then everyone on the even side of the grid in the next 3-4 rows all deployed a fresh set of tyres as well. So there's a handful of drivers out there who haven't, and there you can see for the drivers who haven't deployed them, they are dropping down the order just that little bit now in this race. Back here though, gap still 0.4 of a second for Arias. He's closing in, but it's thousandths of a second a lap he's closing in. The pace has been strong from the entire junior grid here. And, well, of course, more so with the front runners here. Bennett setting the fastest lap of the race. Jensen Bennett currently sitting in 9th place. Up 4 places in this one. Now with a 51.8, a very quick time. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Zulfikari still leading the way from Martinez. A change here, though, would certainly benefit Martinez. We'll see whether or not it can happen. We've seen Martinez go for big moves into corners. He's one who's not shy from going for a full lunge. Of course, Martinez, who's had a good season throughout this, has not been a final winner so far this season. He's been eluded one of those. Coronel, Poccola and Costoya have been the final winners so far in the first 3 rounds of the championship. A lot of these drivers who have had really good races and really good results still yet to really fight at the front end in those finals, but we'll see that final tomorrow. We need to determine who's first making it into that final. As all these drivers are still in the qualifying heats phase of this weekend. So Fakari from Arias, Martinez, Sala, Zhang Jose, Rousseau, Lovett, Burnett, Letamaki from Mackie, still the top 10. Action here, a little further down in the order. Now we are watching that battle. That's a little further down in the order as well. Yeah, that's around about 11th, 12th and 13th, I believe. George Zazov, Ferhan, Asher Osteen all battling away, close for position. We're on lap 9 now. 11 laps in total this race, and well, we're not seeing these gaps close in as much as I think these drivers would be wanting, as Iskander Fakari is extending his gap once again. Fastest lap of the race, opens it up to back to half a second now. So again, it's chopping and changing between these top two. Movers down in the field, Asher Osteen in the CRG, 11 places gained, is up into 13th place. He's having a good run on that last lap. Jensen Burnett got past Archie Lovett as well. He's up 6 places now into P7. So again, there is battles happening thick and fast. You can see the trains starting to form behind, but how much the gap is opening at the front here. Well, Zulfikari opened up nearly another 10th on that last lap. A purple sector 2 for Iskander Zulfikari, and has extended it now to 0.6 of a second between himself and Bosco Arias. Martinez still comfortable, and the top 4 are all comfortable as well. Filippo Sala is in a good stage of this race. Yamato Rousseau, though, in P5, has got a bit of a train forming behind him here. It starts with Zhang Jose, Burnett and Lovett in that battle as well. This is the number 23 of Zhang Jose in that fight, and like you say, Jens Burnett right behind him in this moment. But let's see what happens here as they change once again down the inside. It's Burnett getting the move done as we go on to the final lap of this race. Who they go then down into turn number 4 and 5. And already, are we seeing this gap come down even more? We are, technically, yes. Zulfikari has lost a little bit of an advantage here from Bosco Arias. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. The gap is still over 0.4 of a second. But we'll see what happens here. Martinez, Filippo Sala, Yamato Rousseau still in the top runners here. Only a few more corners to go. Zulfikari would lead the intermediate classification with this win, but only by 14 points ahead of Dries van Langendonk, who at this moment still technically leads it. Across the line they go. Iskander Zulfikari takes the win ahead of Bosco Arias. Martinez finishes in 3rd place ahead of Filippo Sala. Yamato Rousseau from Jensen Burnett, Zhang Jose and Archie Lovett, Sebastian Letamaki and Harrison Mackie round out the top 10. Well, what a race that was, and all of them have had a really good day of racing, but that rounds out their qualifying heats phase. But Zulfikari, Bosco Arias, Martinez, Sala, that is the results they will have wanted. Rousseau finishing in P5, Burnett from Zhang Jose, Lovett, Letamaki, Mackie, the top 10. Zazov finishing in 11th place from Ferhan. Osteen from Kalustian, who finishes in P14. Now, I'm inclined to believe that for Melvin Kalustian is his best result of the weekend with a P14 for the Ward Racing team. There's a look then at the full classifications on that one. We've gone over the top 14. Florentine Hattemer rounds out the top 15 after gaining 7 places. Klara Kowalczyk finishing in P16 ahead of Drew Roltz. Simo Spachuska finishing in 18th place. Herbertus Palm finishing in 19th. Toniolo finishing in the top 20. Marco Gas with 5 places gained finishes in 21st place. Grabco in 22nd with 10 places gained. Maximus Unt and Sun Yabi. Hampus Holmberg finishing in 25th place ahead of Alex Brunner, who rounds out the top 26 drivers who finished that race. Retirements came in thick and fast. Mika Runitz from Manuel Miguez, Benjamin Manak from Christopher Nita. Then it is Roland Nagy from RGMMC, unfortunately all retirements. But there on your screen is Iskender Fakari. Well, I think that head going up there was a sign of, whew, there we go. We did what we needed to do. Leads the intermediate classifications right now, does Iskender Fakari. So he's in a prime position here to be on that top spot, but again, long way to go. Let's have a look at the highlights from that one. And, well, initially the start there, well, clean getaway for Iskender Fakari, not waiting around for the drivers behind who all got caught sleeping a little bit there. Arias and Lovett having to drop down into the field. Zhang Jose in the early stages was able to sweep across and held on to second place. Sala up into third as well from P4, so both of those drivers able to gain those spots in the early stages. Action would kick off in the background. You saw the dust kicking up there. Dust kicking up here. Big moment there in the early stages, and some drivers having big moments in the latter stages as well. And you can see there the DPK just getting squeezed off the circuit. Not what you want to see at all. I believe that was Alex Brunner maybe in that one. This was a huge moment down the inside there. That was a full send for Drew Roltz, which then resulted in, well, everyone running a little bit wide there, and the main culprit running wide was the 50, who later retired, Manuel Miguez, unfortunately, I think, to damage after that moment. This was the scary moment. We saw two karts on top of each other here. A big moment for the two of them. And for RGMMC and Roland Nagy, both out of the race near the dying stages of the race. More action happened on the last lap, but it was all signed, sealed and done. Iskender Fakari, no dramas for him, takes the race win, leads the intermediate classifications. There's a lot more races to go. Well, we're going to take a short ad break. We'll be back in a few moments' time. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
It makes life a lot easier out the track, so you don't have to worry about school and on-track performance and grades and all that sort of stuff.
The school understands exactly what I'm doing. They understand, how important it is for me, and the schedule that they, created for me is really well balanced, and I really enjoy it.
It's a very fine balance between his sporting career and also his studies. He doesn't have to compromise on either. I'm very happy that Minerva has supported us through this journey.
The communication is great, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think MVA would help a lot of other races. A lot of people come into the track and asking about it. What do you do for homeschool? Like, how does it work? And I always say, Minerva, you need to contact them and get going with them, because it's made my life so much easier.
Well, down here in Parc Ferme, our race winner from that last race is Iskender Fakari. Iskender, brilliant result for you there. I think that's your first win of the weekend, and you now lead the intermediate classifications. Granted, you're only 14 points ahead of Dries van Langendonk, your teammate, but you're in the right spot that I think you want to be in.
It's pretty good for standing in the individual classifications in the front. For the last heat, it was not so well, so we had to change something with the driving style and with the chassis. So I adjusted, and I had the confidence to win this heat.
Yeah, that's what you need, isn't it? Tomorrow's going to be a busy day. You're in the good spot. Are you going to enjoy watching the last few races, or are you going to relax now and maybe take a nice long rest?
I think I should have a look at my teammates as well for the other heats too.
Yeah. Well, let's wish them best of luck as well. But congratulations, well done. That's a great end to your day, and we'll see you out racing tomorrow. Well done.
Thanks.
Excellent stuff there from Iskender Fakari. Plenty more races to go. I'm going to head back up to myself in the commentary box after this short ad break.
Well, thank you very much for that, Anthony. Back in the commentary box with me, Anthony, and we will get going for these races. Next race, qualifying heat D versus E. Let's quickly take you through the starting lineup for this one. Please excuse me as I try to catch my breath here at the moment. Gabriel Gomez and Yuri Peschel start this one on the front row of the grid. Vivek Canthan and Roland Cooklane on row number 2. Kai Rillarts and Noel Montero go from row number 3. Joseph Smith and Pedro Hilbrand round out row number 4. Marcus Gilkunis and Avramidis on row 5. And then on row 6, it's Gustafsson and Dube. Miklev and Bashara from Sturluson and Giacardi. Kaczynski and Blake Nash on row number 9. Dubnitsky and Castellini, Rolson and Sherex and Zanfari and Panetta. Back of the field for this one, Korpeng and Scarborough. Hayden rounds out the 33 field. Again, apologies as I do try to catch my breath. Well, the race is about to get underway here for the OK qualifying D versus E. It's a good getaway then at the front of the field, but it's all gone wrong. In the background, carts off the circuit, and we will try and tell you who they are. And there's more damage. Well, they're off the track. I can't quite see the number 287 that's gone off the circuit. That's Blake Nash, the American for the Tony Kart team, who's off the track. Joining me in the commentary box, thankfully at the right time, Sky Parker, because I'm very much out of breath because I've had to run up a whole flight of stairs. Sky, you're one of the racers here, and tell us, how's your weekend been so far?
It's been okay. I had a horrible qualifying, but just been pushing through for my heats, you know, made a couple positions, just trying to make the final.
Well, exactly. Trying to make the final is the most important thing. And you're watching these seniors going racing now, and what are you thinking of this? Because you've got Gomez who's leading the way right now. He leads the points. As a driver who, you know, is a driver who leads sort of points at this sort of the weekend, what do you think he's feeling right now?
Don't mess up.
Don't mess up. I think that's a really good point you bring up there. Side-by-side action here. This is all kicking off a little further up the field. I'm just trying to think who that is. The 280 who's battling there. So that's Vivek Canthan's second place battle that we've got on our screen. Cooklane just getting through now, and I think that has changed it. So Roland Cooklane up into second place now. So this is second, third, fourth, and fifth that we can see on our screen. Peschel just in the background there of that screen. He's been looking quick this weekend, has Peschel. Have you been watching much of the other classes?
Only when I'm out, like...
On the gantry?
Yeah.
On the gantry, watching the racing, yeah. But I'm sure you can imagine in the meantime, you're kind of sitting back, relaxing, watching what's happening with the car, doing everything like that.
Try not to dive the heat.
Try not to dive the heat. It's very hot in the commentary box as well, isn't it? 22 degrees outside. It's a lovely day for racing. Mark Dubnitsky, then, he's trying to go for the moves here as he sets the fastest lap of the race. As you can see, he's trying to get the switchback here, but that's Victor Gustafsson going for the moves there, so he's got to be careful. He's gained positions earlier on in this race weekend, but again, he's in a really tricky spot here. He can't do too much damage to his kart because he's had some up and down results. Still here with Peschel, he's right behind Kai Rillarts. Rillarts trying to go for the move there on Canthan, but Canthan now is on the back foot here, I would say. He's not really in a strong position to push on the drivers in front. Gomez has broken away. 1.1 seconds clear. That's exactly what you want, isn't it, Sky?
Yeah, he's clear.
He's clear. He doesn't need to worry about anything apart from, like you were saying, little mistakes here and there. He doesn't want anything like that. Here's a look at the graphics then. Tyres of what has been deployed at this point of the weekend. Gomez has got a new set. He's gone for the left-hand side of his kart. Cooklane's got a new set as well. He's deployed on the right-hand side of his kart. Canthan hasn't. Remember, he deployed a new set earlier on. So that is why he has got no new tyres on his kart, and maybe the reason why he's dropping down a little bit in this order. He's already deployed them. When would you say, Sky, is a good time to put new tyres down?
When you're struggling for grip, like I.
when you're struggling for grip.
Yeah, like my last heat, I put on new tyres.
Yes.
To hope to make up some more positions.
That's what you need, isn't it? So yeah, if you can focus on that one, that's that sort of sharp end, isn't it? Because you can have a full day of racing where, you know, you've had all your race heats, it's all gone well, everything's done what you need. But when it comes to those last sort of races at the end of the day, at this point, this is where we see the bulk of it. Sometimes we see drivers deploy tyres really early on. Why would a driver do that? You don't know.
If you got a puncture?
If you've got a puncture. That's the only reason I can think of it as well. Here we go then, action on this one. Peschel now with Vivek Canthan. He has closed in at this point of the race. And he's going to go for it through turn 14. Nicely done down the inside. He's going to push his way forward in this one. Canthan's going to fight back though. There we go. That was an interesting one in towards the first corner. And he's got it back. He's got it back. So that's a really good run there. Now, it looked like Peschel had no power out the corner. I don't know what happened there. He got the move done initially, but then out of the corner, it just bogged down there, didn't it? He didn't have the power. So again, he's going to try again here, side by side. Oh, that's as close as you'd like to get it. How close is it when you're out there? Is it kind of terrifying a little bit?
Not really.
I would think it's terrifying.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I commentate. I don't race. So, but no, drivers here, very, very brave there. Sky confirming it. But all the action here. Shilkunis now battling away behind Canthan. He's trying to close in now, and he's trying to go for the move now. Now you've got Avramidis and Panetta just behind as well. Dubnitsky, Hilbrand, Montero, Gustafsson, Bastrada, Buzar, Kaczynski, Giacardi, Youngling and Lirovson, who had a retirement earlier on, and she was not happy with that retirement earlier on. She got out of the car, frustration, arms were flailing around. She certainly wasn't happy, but see what she can do now. Back down the inside goes Markus Shilkunis. This is good to see from Shilkunis. He had drama earlier on in the weekend where he got squeezed and sandwiched, and his kart went up about 5 foot in the air, and then it landed on the front end of the kart, and was a little bit injured after that one, but it's good to see that he's back out racing and making good overtakes here. And Sky, if I'm not saying if you do, I'm not saying this from your point of view, but if a driver has an accident, what does that do to a driver on a race weekend? Like, does it affect the mentality? Do you think I've got to fight back now? I've lost all my momentum. It's not what you need to do. Does it really distract you from your race weekend?
No, I think it just makes you want to work even that much harder to try and make the final or even the superheat.
Yeah. So it brings that mentality back into play, makes you want to dig deep. That's fair enough, because we do see that a lot from other drivers, as we're seeing the side-by-side action here. Well, a very robust way of getting through there. That was Pedro Hilbrand with Victor Gustafsson. Gustafsson on the outside now. He's lost out to Pastrada, who goes through on the 283. And, well, now that's brought in No Montero here. No Montero right in the fray at the front of it. He's now trying to defend from all three of these drivers who are battling their way through. Hilbrand's got in front now. He's clear. Kaczynski's come up as well in the 211. He's on the Tony kart there, or the Ward Racing kart, I think that is, on the Tony kart chassis. So we'll keep an eye on that. Gomez with the fastest lap of the race. What's his gap? 1.5 seconds. He looks pretty strong there, doesn't he? He's broken away. He's got no drama, really. He can focus. That's a big send. Oh, that's a too big of a send. Down the inside, and the 273 of, I think that was Giacardi there. That went all wrong, and, well, he won't be too happy with that one. He's going to tumble down the order, and he tumbles to 23rd place. That is a big shame. Now, that is a dramatic, that's a dramatic moment, and again, at this point of a weekend, we can see it back here, Sky. What do you think of this? Because again, the gap's there, clearly, but he's coming in a bit hot there, and that is an unfortunate moment, isn't it?
Yeah, he kind of got saved from whoever was behind to not go into a full spin.
Yes, yeah, quite literally so, and sometimes that can be the benefit of being in a close pack like that. But yeah, no, that is a big shame for Giacardi. He drops well back in the order now, and that's not gone well at all. Gomez leads then on lap 10. He's cleared by 1.6 seconds. Rilarts is there in third place. Peschel from Shilkunas, Avramidis, Panetta, Canthan in 8th place. Dubnitsky and Hiltbrand still round out the top 10. Any retirements in this race? There are. We've had a few. Emma Scarborough has retired. Jakub Rashki, Sofia Sanfari, unfortunately, and Fabian Sturluson, all retirements in this race. Biggest movers out there. We've got, well, I'm going to give it to Santina Panetta. 17 places gained and is in 7th place. So that's an absolutely superb start there. Dubnitsky's gained 10 places. He's inside the top 10 in 9th place. Then you've got Guillaume Bouzard, who's up 10 places in P15. And then Timo Jungling with 11 places gained. So there's been big movers. And again, I'm going to talk from a driver's perspective. Scott, I'm going to bring you back in here. What does that do to you? You know, you've gained so many places in a race. That's got to make the butterflies come out a little bit in a driver.
Butterflies?
Like nerves, you know, butterflies in your stomach.
No.
No?
Well, if you've got to a position and you're like, okay, can I just have to stay there?
Yeah.
And you're thinking, oh, I'd have to go forward, then you will go back because you've always got to be thinking, go forward, go forward, go forward.
Yep, okay, that makes sense. You're coming out with a lot of sense here. There we go, it shows how much I don't know. But there we go. But yeah, so focusing at this point, so everyone here is just thinking, yeah, I'm in the right spot, I'm doing what I'm doing, and they're not worried about anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, pretty much. There we go. From the driver's perspective there, ladies and gentlemen. We're nearing the end of this race here, Sky. Gomez is looking really comfortable at the front here now. The gap extending even, well, no, I'm going to say it's not extending. I think Roland Cooklane's closing in here. The gap is now about a second. It was 1.5 seconds. Big check over the shoulder there as we go on to the final lap of the race. But now it's less than a second. I think Gomez has got it covered, though. What do you think?
100%.
100% got it covered there. No drama whatsoever. He's going to make it to the end. And, you know, Cooklane's done a really good job here. 2 places gained, same as Rilarts, 2 places gained. And this is sort of a tricky stage of a weekend, you know, because, well, you get, as soon as everyone deploys a brand new set of tyres, this is where it comes really tricky, doesn't it? Because so many drivers right now, they're thinking, right, I've deployed my fresh set. I'm going to be in a good spot here. They turn around, they look at the entire grid. Everyone else has gone for brand new tyres. We're ruined. Is that the sort of thought you go through?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so when everyone does it, it's ruined it. But there we go, out of the final corner. Gomez is going to take his win, and he now leads the intermediate classifications ahead of Yuri Peschel by some way, about 33 points ahead of Peschel for that one. Gomez has put himself in a really strong spot now, but remember, McLaughlin's got another race. Remember that Matviev has another race, and he has the maximum 200 points to his name, and he sits there in 3rd in that intermediate classification. So he is in the spot right now to do the damage, but we'll have to see what happens later on in the race. Thank you very much for joining me for a race there, Sky. It was great to get an insight from your perspective. Have you got another race today?
Yeah.
You got another race today. When is that coming up?
It's the last one. So
it's the last one of the day. So what is that last one? It's heat 30, okay, qualifying heat 15, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We'll see you out in that one. Thank you so much, Sky, and we'll see you later on out on circuit. But for Gabriel Gomez, that's exactly what he needs. And, well, let's see what happens. But Gomez, Cooklane, Rilarts, Peschel, Shilkunas, Avramidis, Panetta, Canthan, Dubnitsky, Hiltbrand, the top 10. Panetta gaining 17, Dubnitsky with 10. And, well, the whole of the field there can be delighted with that one. Victor Gustafsson then finishes in 12th place ahead of Noah Montero. Kaczynski from Duke, Bouzard, Bastarda, Jungling, Mikalev, Lirolson from Giacardi, Wolf, Smith, Korpeng, Hayden, Svan, Castellini, Alibi finishing in 27th place from Shaddix, Nash and Scarborough. The first of the retirements, Rashki, Sanfari and Strussen. Unfortunately, all retirements from that race. Well, They'll be out later tomorrow. Some drivers there may not make it through into those superheats. The ones that finished at the front of that one certainly are in a really strong spot to potentially finish in the top spots tomorrow. And Gabriel Gomez is one of them as he makes his way back into Parc Fermé. We'll leave you with the highlights. We'll be back in a few moments' time, hopefully with our leader at the end of that one. Thank you very much. And we're here with our race winner on that one, Gabriel Gomez. Gabriel, exactly what you needed there. Another race win. But you've been in direct competition so far this weekend with the likes of Matveev and with McLaughlin. At the end of yesterday, all three of you had maximum points. Today was a different story, but how do you feel at the end of the racing today?
Yeah, I think both of us are really tight this week. Us three were in the hit with both of them. I was really, really tight with them. Matveev a little bit. I think he was winning by a little bit more of gap. Me and McLaughlin, we was very, very close during our hit. And now we win the last one. Good for the points, but now we need to work a little bit more to find that a little bit of gap we have for the P1 to see what we can do tomorrow.
Excellent. It's going to be a busy day, but we look forward to it. Congratulations, well done on a final win there.
Thank you.
Excellent stuff. We'll take a short ad break. We'll be back in a few moments' time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, the next race has made its way out onto the circuit. OK Junior, qualifying Heat A versus F. Let's quickly take you through the starting lineup for this one. Van Langendonk and Christian on the front row of the grid. Hookendorn and Rasmussen on row number 2. Kinmark and Baglin on row 3. They've got Craigie and Pradier on row 4. Reipold and Krutlov on row 5. With Cochet and Kelleher on row 6. Rao and Van Ruyen go from row 7. With Endo, Arata and Paul Andriotis on row 8. Clark and Malota, I should say, on row 9. Savalev and Pilipenko on row 10. Uznim and Martinez on row 11. Then it's Francois and Ruggiero on row 12. Sabrov and Scarborough on row 13. Vung and Landstrom from Leon, Matsui, Jenny, Slater, who's not out there, and Peldis on the back of the grid. Reminder of the intermediate classifications. Zulfikari leads the way, 214 points at the moment. Of course, that will change. Van Langendonk's in the prime position here to be on the top spot. He's got 200 points to his name. Another win here in his final race, and he'll be good. And we go racing down in towards turn 1. Brilliant start for Van Langendonk. Exactly what he needed. Sweep to the outside there to get the optimal line through the corner. Already carnage at turn 1. 3 karts off the track. Luckily, it looks like all of them are okay, but we'll find out who they are. And it was around the mid to back pack of the drivers, and it started with Alexander Uznim. Lillian Scarborough, also another one, got going again. Jonathan Landstrom is another, and it looks like Merrill Peldis was the third. So those 3 drivers off the track, and it looks like they're out of this race. Like I was saying, Scarborough there was involved, but I think managed to get going again. So that is the only good thing that we could take away from that one, but currently running at the back of the field. Action back at the front here as everyone's making their way through. We'll take you through the lineup. It's Van Langendonk from Christian, Hookendorn from Kinmark, Rasmussen from Craigie, Baglin from Reipold, Cochet, Kelleher and Pradier, Krutelov rounding out the top 12. Big send down the inside for Kenzo Craigie. He's going to go for the move here. And does he get it complete? The answer to that is yes. Rasmussen down another position. So they push their way forward. And again, Rasmussen now under attack from behind. It's Baglin going down the inside. And Rasmussen loses out on another position there. So Baglin gaining those positions now, pushing his way forward. We're on lap number 2, start of this race. There's still a long way to go. Van Langendonk at the moment with his leads the intermediate classifications. 250 points to his names. And while there, some information, number 2, 11 and 29, the only cars on the grid not to have used their new tyres. That is interesting information there. Some drivers not even deploying them today, so maybe saving them for tomorrow if they've made the cutoff. Of course, remember, only 72 go through to the superheats. Gets whittled down to the 36 for the final. Down the inside, Craigie on Kinmark gets that move done, now moves up into P4. Baglin's going to follow as well. This is the dynamic duo for the Prema Racing team here of Craigie and Baglin, pushing their way up through this field here. And they're currently now in P4 and 5. Hookendorn is next on the lid. Christian and Van Langendonk in the lead of this one. And that's exactly what they need to do. Down the inside, and well, Rasmussen gets that move done again, moves back in front of Kinmark. Reipold now just behind it. The 2 teammates there for Koski Motorsport are trying to push their way forward right now. And let's see what happens here. No change at the front. Van Langendonk and Christian lead the way. Hookendorn looking competitive though. He's looking back down the inside, not close enough for the move, but he certainly keeps twitching like he wants to go for the move here. And that's throwing Craigie off as well, because Craigie goes for it. There's the twitch, but there's the move. Down the inside for Hookendorn, and he gets up into second place. Christian down to third as they push their way through now. Up the field they go, but can they close in? Can Hookendorn close in on Van Langendonk here? Craigy's going to send it down the inside now. Baglin's going to follow. He's going to be the ultimate rear gunner here for Craigie. And they're pushing themselves up now right to the front of this one. Van Langendonk leads the way. And, well, he thinks he's comfortable at the moment. And, well, he'd be right in saying that. 250 points. He's got no real worry of any other drivers in this class to really worry about. He's got such a lead from the rest of them. But Hoogendoorn is piling on the pressure. But now the dynamic duo have decided, no, it's time to go battling, because Baglin's gone down the inside of Craigie. He says he wants to now lead the two of them now to see if he can close in to Hoogendoorn, who is still driving away here. He's got an advantage now, and he's closing in. The gap is 0.2 of a second. Let's wait until the next cross, the next timing beam. What is the gap going to go down to? To the inside comes Oliver Rasmussen. He gets that one back down the inside of Billy Christian. Now the two Koskis go wheel to wheel in the background there. They all make their way through, and it looked like there that Kinmark got past Reipold, or Reipold past Kinmark, but two of the Koskis going wheel to wheel. The gap, though, for the lead, Dean Hoogendoorn, it opened up just that little bit more. And I'm talking thousandths of a second it opened up more. Down the inside goes Thomas Perrier. Runs wide on the exit. Now back with Reipold, wheel to wheel, gets it done though. Secures it into the next hairpin. Kelleher's closed in behind. Krutelov is there as well. Endo Arata also there as well in the 1:44 in 12th place. Timing earlier on, and wants to redeem in this race. Have to see how that goes, but we'll keep an eye on this battle. Van Langendonk leads the way. Hoogendoorn, Baglin, Craigie, Rasmussen, Christen, Kinmark, Pradier, Reipold, Kelleher, Krutelov in the top 11. Let's have a little look further back in the field. Any big movers? The answer to that, not really. There's a couple of 8th place movers here. Alex Martinez has moved up 8 places into P14, so relatively strong performance, as well as Tobias Jenny, also 8 positions gained, as Langendonk now sets the fastest lap of the race, so securing that race lead. Retirements, there have been a few in this one. Mark Pilipenko has unfortunately retired. Lilian Scarborough has retired. Alexander Uzneem, Jonathan Landstrom, Merapeldis, also retirements. Alfie Slater, obviously the non-starter, out of the weekend. But still, other than that, it's been a relatively calm race in this one for their last race. I think they're all aware that, you know, Van Langendonk leads it. No one can really beat him. We can gain these positions here because Baglin, with these position gains, has bumped him up second in the intermediate classification. That's why he's got past his teammate. He knows that that was going to benefit him in this one, and it has. It's bumped him up second. He's gone ahead of Zulfikari now. Hoogendoorn is down to 4th, or up to 4th, I should say, in the intermediate classification. I mean, even if he gained first place, even if he gained the race lead on this one, he wouldn't gain anything from it. He would still be in 4th in the intermediate classification. So Hoogendoorn's exactly where he needs to be right now. He doesn't need to worry about catching Van Langendonk. It's not going to gain him absolutely anything on this one. Baglin and Craigie, if they can gain another one, it helps out Baglin just that little bit more with a buffer maybe from the other drivers who are yet to go out in the form of, Martinez Arias, Sala, everything like that. They've got more races coming up in a moment, but we'll see what happens with that. Because, well, Sala just needs to get to the end of this race right now. And at the moment, looking comfortable with it, because Craigie's not retaliating. I think they may have had a discussion before this race even started, because you saw the overtake that came between the two of them. It didn't look like he gave the position up at all. It looked like Baglin took the position, but I think they were saying, you know, at this point, if we're clear, if I can get in front of you, I gain more points and I can move up second in the intermediate classification. That would make sense. But we'll have to see whether or not that is the case, because, well, Craigie here is still on that rear bumper. He's not dropped off the back here. Craigie at the moment is just inside the top 8 in the intermediate classification. A position gain here would help out Kenzo Craigie, but for only 1 spot. And he checks over on the shoulder there. He sees to what his mechanic's saying. We didn't see what his mechanic's saying, so it could have been go for the move. It could have been work together. We just don't know. Only time will tell. We're on lap 10 now of 11, the penultimate lap of this race, and Van Langendonk leads the way. Hoogendoorn still second from these two battling here. Then it's the next two. Rasmussen and Christen still there, 5th and 6th place. Kinmark from Pradier, Reipold from Krutelov still the top 10. Kelleher now in 11th place. from the rest of the field. And still no major movers out there. Still Martinez now with 9 places gained. He's moved up another spot there into P13. So again, a lot of deployment of fresh tyres in this one as we go on to the final lap of the race. And Langendonk at this moment is signed, sealed and done to be on pole position tomorrow. 25 championship points will go to his name. And we'll just have to see, because right now, this has been a superb performance for Dries van Langendonk. No drama this weekend. He had drama over the first couple of rounds. He is yet to win a final this season in this championship, but he has done absolutely everything he can to fight for the championship here in Sweden. With only one more corner to go, it will be Dries van Langendonk starting on pole position tomorrow in Superheat 1. It is Dries van Langendonk on top with maximum points, 250 of them. He cannot be beaten. Tomorrow as well could be the same story. With the points lead he's got, he might be all right even in the Superheats phase of the weekend. But Van Langendonk looks to be the favourite here in Kristianstad in Sweden. Well, he'll make his way back to Park Ferme. Hugendorn will finish in second place ahead of Baglin. Craigie will finish in P4. Nothing became of those two, just finishing 1/10 apart from each other. Christian from Rasmussen, Kinmark from Pradier, Reipold from Kelleher, Endo from Krutelov, Martinez from Van Rooyen, Cochet from Andriotis, Clark from Rao, Richard Giro from Francois, and the rest of the field as well. Well, all the way down the order there. Francois Curto running at the top 20. Makar Savalev ahead of Alex Malota. Tobias Jenny gaining 8 places in that one, finishing in 23rd from Amir Sabarov. Sara Matsui gaining 5, finishing in 25th, ahead of Carlo Leon. And Jakob Vung finishing in the top 27. The retirements in that one, Mark Polapenko, Lilian Scarborough, Alexander Uznin, Jonathan Landstrom and Merrill Peldis. Alfie Slater, the only driver who unfortunately retired, pulled out of the weekend before it really even started, went out for some practice sessions, a lot of pain after a previous injury at a previous race weekend, and unfortunately not taking part in this one. There though, Dries van Langendonk on your screen. Maximum points. He can be delighted with that one going into tomorrow. The job is not over yet. He has got a full day for this one. Let's take a look at the highlights for this one. Well, Van Langendonk, superb start for him. Managed to get to the end of this race with no dramas whatsoever. Didn't even have any dramas at the start there. Was able to actually sweep to the outside to take the optimal line. This is where the drama unfolded. One driver getting away with that one, Lilian Scarborough, who did later retire, but the first retirements there, Mira Peldis, Jonathan Landstrom and Alexander Uznin, unfortunately all out on that opening lap in towards turn number 1. A very dramatic opening lap there, as the front of the grid was quite calm and collected in the opening stages. There was another one of the retirements. That was Alexander Uznin's car getting pretty much unceremoniously dragged off the circuit. There was Craigie going for the moves in the early stages, getting past Kinmark in the early stages of the race, pushing himself up. Rasmussen would have been the next target as they pushed themselves forward. Rasmussen in the number 48 had a bit of an up and down race in that one, dropping P6, P5, then down to P7, then recovered back to P6 at the end of this one, all battling away with the two Koskis there in the likes of, well, Kinmark there as well, and Kasper Reipold. They would go for battles thick and fast. Later on in the race, big movers there further back in the field. Drivers going for it. Dean Hugendorn, though, getting up into second place on Illy Christian. That was the main overtake there. Now, Craigie got up into third place. Baglin later on. Look at this move. Out of nowhere. That came from miles away for Baglin. Straight into third place, and that's what promoted him up into a really strong spot there in the intermediate classifications as well as in the race. The midway points of this race as well, we still saw the overtakes happening thick and fast out in the middle of the field. But the crucial thing you could take away from that one is that Van Langendonk gets the perfect weekend. That's what he needed. That's what he needed. Maximum points, really pushing himself along in this race. And there you can see at the end, no celebration, calm, collected, knows what he needs to do. He's going to save those celebrations to that final tomorrow. There's a long way to go between now and then because he's got superheats to go and, of course, that all-important final. We're going to take a short ad break. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back with the next race coming up very soon.
Racing Spirit was born out of the need to create a clothing line that could embody the passion and the experience that OMP gathered and cultivated working alongside the most successful racing teams of the last 50 years. Racing Spirit garments are made by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. They can be worn every day in leisure time, but especially on race venues, from the paddock of the hottest Formula One races to the service parks of winter rallies in all weather conditions. Racing Spirit offers a complete range of clothing and accessories for men and women, designed and developed in Italy, combining aesthetics, comfort, and functionality. Because of these features, it is the brand of choice of several prestigious motorsport outfits and organizations. Racing Spirit is the meeting point between high quality and Italian style, as well as the introduction of sustainable materials and innovations, such as the use of graphene. Racing Spirit offering comes with 4 options: cutting-edge designs and customization techniques. Lifestyle is a line of garments ideal for everyday and leisure wear, with refined style and innovative materials. Crew are custom garments of the highest quality that strengthen the visual identity of the team or organization. For instance, the choice of Skoda Motorsport and Dallara. Corporate is a full custom-designed clothing line for sizable organizations, such as Toyota Racing Development. Finally, the teamwear line for maximum creative freedom uses sublimation printing technology derived from OMP's racing experience. Similarly to the other Racing Force Group brands, Racing Spirit shares the same DNA of competing to be the first and ultimately become the reference in the market.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're nearing the end of the day here. Only 3 more races to go, and this race here is the third before the end of it. It's qualifying heat A versus F for the senior OK category. And this is an important one because this race will determine who's starting on pole for superheats A and B tomorrow. You've got Dmitry Matviev and you've got Finn McLaughlin on the front row for this. There they are on your screen, getting themselves ready for this one. A real build-up now coming in to this race. I mean, the senior category at the moment, Gomez does lead the intermediate classification. He was the third of the 3 drivers who were involved in the 3 drivers who had the maximum points at the end of yesterday. They had 100 points apiece, and all the way throughout today, they've been fighting to get those maximum points and everything staying on there. At the moment, Matviev is the only driver to get the maximum points. He has 200 points to his name. He's got 4 out of 5 qualifying heat wins. Another win here would put him bang on top, 250 points. No one could beat him. He'd still have to work hard in the superheats, but he'd be comfortable. McLaughlin has the work against him here. Let's see what happens, though, as the engines fire up. Let's take you through the starting lineup. It's Dmitry Matviev and Finn McLaughlin on row number 1. Thibaut Ramikas and Matt Corby on row 2. They've got David Walter and Matthias Morgato on row 3. Grayson Skulinov and Vigard Clementson round out row 4. They've got Lewis Werrell and Andy Consani on row 5. They round out the top 10. Freddie Lloyd and Leo Nilsson go from row 6. They'll have Marilla De Rocca and Luna Fluscher on row 7. And it's Aaron Garcia and Jensen Graham on row 8. Tame Soleil and Bernardo Bonaldi on row 9. We'll have Marcus Juncher and Tord Rugstad on row 10. Dominic Simek and Peter Stiller go from row 11. They'll have Augustin Sepulveda and Michael Adair on row 12. Miguel Costa and Hugo Radamets go from row 13. Mark Brovko and Filippo Donanzan on row 14. Liu Egir and Noel Sundberg go round out the top 30 on row 15. Then it's Nico Landalatte and Radek Vavra on row 16. Levi Allen rounds out the 33 kart field on row 17. All karts have made it out onto the circuit. A reminder of the intermediate classification, there it is on your screen. Gomez with the 235 from Yuri Peschel's 202. Matveev sits there third. A win here, 250 points. He'll be fine and dry. McLaughlin, 194. Now, if McLaughlin wins this race and Matveev finishes second, it's still Matveev who has the maximum points because he outqualified McLaughlin. Now, if McLaughlin wins and Matveev finishes in third place, that would be a different story. He would lose out on more points and it would promote McLaughlin to the top. So again, this race really does determine who is starting on pole for Superheat 1 and Superheat 2 tomorrow. Who is getting the maximum 25 championship points for, well, I mean, in the championship standings for Matveev, he sits down in the order. He's 10th in the championship. I mean, there's still a fighting chance maybe of gaining quite a few positions, but he's well out of contention for the championship lead. The same could be said for McLaughlin here. He sits sixth in the championship standings. His last two rounds have not been competitive enough. He's down 110 points or so from Thibaut Ramekers. And Ramekers is in a really strong spot at the moment because he's 8th in the intermediate classification. But we'll see what happens in this one as we get ready. The lights go green. We are racing down in towards turn number 1. And it's a good start for Matveev, exactly what he needed here to get a good start from the rest of the field. Through the chicane they go. Konstantin Rafet kicks in as they dive into the braking zone of turn number 4. And it's a rotation in the mid-pack there. 2 karts go around. Well, frustration, and I can sense sarcasm in there as well. The 282, and I couldn't see the other number. I think it's Jensen Graham, one of them. He was the frustrated one. Mark Brovko in the 306. I think he was showing a bit of sarcasm there with the clap and just thinking, what was that? So drama in the opening stages, and unfortunately, both of them are out of it. The last race of the day has ended in a DNF. Matveev, though, at the moment, leads the way. No, he doesn't lead the way. I'm gonna tell a lie. It's Ramekers leading the way here from his teammate McLaughlin. Now, what does that do to the intermediate classification? Well, because McLaughlin's not leading, it still means that Matveev is in the points lead at the moment in the intermediate classification. There is Grayson Skulinov, who's out of retirement earlier on after contact. He's going to be under pressure here as Corby sends it down the inside. Morgato's there as well. Freddie Lloyd on the outside. He's going to try and get past, and through goes the 220 of Lewis Werrell. Lewis Werrell with an absolutely superb racing line there. Got a 2 for 1 through turn number 7. Well, the race goes on. Let's have a look at what happened at turn number 3. This is the lead change. Okay, so this is Ramekers down the inside, and just enough space and close enough. And yeah, McLaughlin got through as well. So Matveev down to 3rd. So we'll keep an eye on this one. This is a crucial one here. Now, for Ramekers and McLaughlin, they are teammates. And, well, you would think team orders at this point of making one of your teammates start on outright pole. Ramekers, though, is doing everything he wants. He wants championship points. He needs to maintain his championship lead. He's going to try and do whatever he can, but so is McLaughlin. He's going to go down the inside. And Finn McLaughlin takes the lead of this race and pushes himself forward now. Exactly what he needed to do there. Ramekers definitely didn't give him that position. That was an overtake there. Definitely from what I saw, no team orders at play there. Ramekers wants to win this race. He wants as much points as he can to help out his championship fight and to help bump him up in the order. So with that position change, McLaughlin would now lead the intermediate classification. There you can see tyres, everyone deploying brand new set on the left-hand side. The drivers down in 20th place downwards, they would have deployed their tyres earlier on. We saw Clementson with brand new tyres earlier on. He deployed them, and now you can see struggling out there because now everyone else has deployed them. So that's the kind of up and down sort of position of what you can see for that one. Matveev, big move down the inside. That was vital. That was vital for Matveev, because now confirmation. He now retakes the lead of the intermediate classification. Joint on points with McLaughlin, but because Matviev out-qualified McLaughlin, he takes the lead of the standings. Well, McLaughlin now, well, he's doing exactly what he needs to do. Get in front, drive away. Matviev now needs to try and close in. Matviev has won every single race so far this weekend. This would be his first non-win if he stays there in position. But let's see what he can do. Werrell now with the fastest lap of the race is closing in. Big send down the inside. That's Matt Corby going for the move on David Walter. Now that moves Corby up into 4th place. Now this would make 3 VDKs up in the top 4. Now can Ramakas and Corby work together to close in on Matviev? I'll keep an eye on the sector times, but wow, Matviev is looking mighty quick on that factory Kart Republic Motorsport kart. Purple sector 1, a brief purple sector 2, but that's just gone now to Matt Corby. So again, the pace is quick here. The gap is 0.6 of a second between the two of them. We're on lap 6 at the moment. And, well, the VDKs are working as hard as they possibly can. Werrell again with another fastest lap of the race. He's doing a good job there in P6. He's behind all of these drivers here right now. There he is on your screen behind David Walter. He's trying to close in on this field. But at the moment, not happening right now. McLaughlin, Matviev, Ramakas, Corby, Walter are the top 5. And they're pushing strong right now. This is a little further back in the field. This is 2 of the DPKs, Murad Droka and Aaron Garcia. Now, both of these drivers having disasters earlier on with retirements. This time around, hopefully, they're going to work together. Wow, look at that. That is clear frustration for Aaron Garcia. A shake of the head out of the final corner. He is not happy, and that's what we talk about. The mentality, get my words out, mentality of the drivers there this phase of a weekend. You just think, I just haven't got the pace. I haven't got the pace to try and close in. It kind of feels like your world's falling apart a little bit, and you know, it's just not going your way. And I think that's what we're seeing there from Alan Garcia. He's been quick over the course of this weekend. He's had good results. He's been up there. He's made positions, but again, he's had difficult races, and you know, that's what we were talking about. You've just got to stay focused. You've got to stay determined. And right now, when you just get that sinking feeling in your heart and in your stomach, where the pace is just not going your way, and you find out that you're just tumbling down that order, it's never something you want to feel. Back here with the front though, and Matviev is closing in. We go from one driver feeling like they're not making the pace, and we go for one driver who is making the pace. And Matviev at the moment has closed that gap up to 0.4 of a second. Now, McLaughlin will defend that position, I guarantee you, if it closes to a battle. Ramakas and Corby are there to be the ultimate rear gunner if this battle comes to anything between the top 2. I think they are lining themselves up ready to be the ultimate teammates here. But we'll have to see, because this is a championship, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone is against everyone here. Yes, okay, they're teammates, but of course, the Drivers' Championship is all the more important. The gap, 0.2 of a second now. McLaughlin has not checked over his shoulder, but he'll be able to hear that engine reverberating behind him. He'll be able to hear the revs behind him building and building. When is he going to check over the shoulder? He's not, and down the inside, Matviev will go for the move, and McLaughlin wasn't able to retaliate there. I don't think he was aware that he was that close, and now McLaughlin needs to dig deep here. He can still start on pole position if he can get past, but he's got to get past, and then Matviev has to drop to 3rd. Matviev is doing everything he can. A kart going slowly. It's the 2:21 of Dominic Simek for the Forza Racing team. He's out of this race down in 31st place. I think he's got it restarted, but yeah, that is race over, unfortunately. 2 other retirements still, Jensen Graham and Mark Brovko, the only other retirements in this race. That was right at the start. Well, Matviev right now looks good, and the gap's open up to 0.2 of a second. McLaughlin's not been able to retaliate. That championship points of 25 going to his name is slowly slipping away from McLaughlin. Matviev most likely has the biggest smile on his face right now, trying to break away from the rest of the field. And there you can see his body language. He's tucked right in here. And, well, here's slow-mo there of them going over the crest. Airtime for the drivers on camera and in live as well in the karts. And there you can see them going over that crest. Superb circuit, this one, the Christianstad layout. The 1.2 kilometre circuit here in southern Sweden has certainly been a fantastic one to go racing at. These drivers have been loving it. Like we were saying, it's been 2 years since the championship has been here. And right now, it doesn't look like any of them have forgotten how to race here properly. Oh dear, out of the race, and that is another retirement here. Now, who is this dropping down the order? I've not seen a kart number, only a driver walking away. Could it have possibly been Bernardo Benoldi? And I'm not too sure. We'll get confirmation when the graphics update there, but one driver clearly out and unhappy. Matviev, though, I'm sure is very happy. The gap is pushing through, and I can confirm it was Bernardo Benoldi who's gone off the track. Yep, there it is, 2:59 there. Bernardo Benoldi, and, well, clear frustration and not happy with himself. And that could be a weekend over for Bernardo Benoldi. We're not too sure. He might have just squeezed into the superheats, but a reaction like that, I think, is from a driver who knows that he may have just been eliminated from the weekend. But we'll wait and see the intermediate classifications in full at the end of the day to see the cut through. There into the pit lane is Dominic Simic. He has now retired. He's pulled it into the pit lane. We saw him going slowly earlier on. He's also out of this race. On to the final lap. And Matviev's gap now is 0.6 of a second. Maximum points for Dmitry Matviev. This is a weekend to remember for the driver for Kart Republic. A reminder of his championship. It was a good round in Valencia. It was a pretty bad round at Val d'Argenton, and it was an average round at Slovakia. But here so far, the start of it is going absolutely superbly for Dmitry Matviev. He is going to secure pole position and 25 championship points across the line. It is Dmitry Matviev, the winner of this race, and your pole position starter in Superheat 1 tomorrow. McLaughlin finishes second and secures pole position for Superheat 2 tomorrow, and just a handful of championship points less than what this man will have received, but still excellent results. And the top three in the intermediate classification at the end of yesterday are the same top three at the end of today. Matviev, McLaughlin and Gomez are 1, 2, 3 in the points. Ramaker's fourth. He will start on the front row alongside McLaughlin tomorrow. Championship leader in a good spot there as the field make their way back into Parc Fermé. Let's have a look at the provisional classifications at the end of that one. Matviev from McLaughlin, Ramakers from Corby, David Walter from Lewis Werrell, Andy Consani from Marilla de Roca, Matthias Morgato from Luna Flusha, Freddie Lloyd from Adam Garcia, Tame Soleil and Miguel Costa from Leo Nilsson, who ran out the top 15. Augustin Sepulveda finishing in P16 after gaining 7 places. Costa 11 places gained. Skulinov finishing P17 ahead of Michael Adair. Peter Stiller in 19th, and Clementson rounding out the top 20. Vavra from Junsha, Rundstad from Arin, Regimets from Canasto, and Dananzan, Landalate and Sudberg rounding out the 29 finishers for retirement. Bernardo Benoldi, Dominic Simic, Jensen Graham and Mark Brovko. But there on your screen, Dmitry Matviev, thumbs up. He's happy. He goes into tomorrow with more championship points and with that pole position. Let's take you through the highlights from that one. And the start initially from Matviev was good. but it wouldn't last for very long because at the end of the opening lap, it was down to third place. But the initial getaway was a good one. Through the chicane, the whole field went. Now, there were a couple of hand up there in the background, but the lights went out nonetheless, and we did go racing. And Ramekers with a good start as well, managing to sweep to second place using that inside line to his advantage there. His teammate McLaughlin having to settle for third place. That was the rotation for Jensen Graham, and Mark Brovko, unfortunately, just in the background. I think both frustration for both of them, and unfortunately, both out of the race. This was the lead change on that opening lap. Down the inside for Ramekers, and McLaughlin just thought, oh, I've got the space too. I'll send it down the inside as well. And I've got to say, if Matviev had lost any more places there, if Walter had managed to get past, if Grayson Skulinov had managed to get past, it may have been a very different story. But the race went on. Skulinov there not having the best race, but still a good result nonetheless. Did finish down in P17, down 10 spots. But like I was saying earlier on, it was retirement. This was McLaughlin taking the lead of the race. And this is where McLaughlin took the lead of the intermediate classifications as well. This is where he was leading the points. This is where he would have got those 25 championship points. That overtake there denied that. Matviev back into second place, put them joint on points. But because Matviev out-qualified McLaughlin, he would start on pole tomorrow. But then the overtake happened for the race lead. Nothing that McLaughlin could do here. I don't think he even realised he was there. He left the room. He did what he could. But we'll have to see what happens in that one. End of the race, that was Dominic Simic, unfortunately, retiring from the race. Unfortunately, clearly mechanical issues there. Bernardo Bonaldi as well. And, well, this reaction here is a reaction of someone who feels like they're out of this weekend entirely. For someone who isn't out of the weekend, but in fact dominating the weekend in the senior category, is that man there. Dmitry Matviev, maximum points, 5 out of 5 qualifying heat wins over the course of today. He joins Van Langendonk in the junior category as only the 2 drivers to get the maximum points over the course of this weekend. 2 more races to go. The penultimate race is now about to head out into the circuit. It's qualifying heat B versus C. The battle for who's starting on pole position for Superheat 2 is very much still on at the moment for the junior category. And at the moment, if you cast your mind back, Van Langendonk and Baglin still there. Zulfikari was third. Dean Hugendorn at the moment. Martinez as well have all gone out. But Kraling, who's on pole position on this one, well, he doesn't sit anywhere at the moment in the intermediate classification. So even if he had 50 points with there, he would, well, he might be okay there to get through, depending on how far down he is. Boris Lysen is not also in that top area there. Pokula is not in that top area there, but he is in this race. Now, he's had a couple of race wins this weekend, so he is in a real spot to try and get things done. Nicholas Schaufler. Now, he's championship leader. He's not in the top 8, but he is in, again, a good position here to gain the points and maybe push himself up. I'm sure the people have done the maths, and we'll find out exactly what it will be as soon as the race gets underway. But you can imagine here, tense time for the drivers. It's their last chance now to show what they've got and to gain as many positions as they possibly can. William Kalesia as well is starting this one on the 3rd row of the grid. The Australian has had good results here, up and down moments. Again, doesn't sit with inside that top 8 in the intermediate classification, but I'm sure is just outside that and is in a good spot to really gain some places as this race gets underway. We're moments away from this one. A reminder, Van Langendonk, maximum points. He can't be beaten. He's got the 25 championship points. He's got pole position for Superheat 1. At the moment, it's Baglin who is looking to be starting on pole position for Superheat 2 tomorrow. But we will have to wait and see what happens in this race. Engines fire up. Let's take you through the full starting lineup. Ian Kraling and Boris Lysen round out row number 1. Jo Pokula and Bruno Greek go from row number 2. Nicholas Schaufler and Willie Kalesia round out row number 3. They've got Scott Marsh and Christian Kostoyer on row 4. Devin Waltz and Rocco Coronel round out the top 10 on row 5. Then they'll have Nikita Nikashov and Gustavo da Silva on row 6. Michael McGuff and Jack Eiliff round out row 7. They'll have Ludovico Mazzola and Remy Samcek on row 8. Jacques Troja and Roman Kamyab round out row 9. Zhao Zijun and Vladimir Vanikov round out the top 20 on row 10. They'll have Andrea Mani and James Anagostiadis on row 11. Giroday and Phillips go from 12. Then it's Lopez and Parker on row 13. Sana Z from Filippo Pancotti on row 14. Oscar Gallin from Alexander Dahlstrom on the 15th spot, 15th row of the grid. Gregor Callis and Ebi Razum on row 16. Henry Domain rounds out the field. 33 karts, all drivers out on track. Sky Parker out in this one. We heard from Sky Parker in one of the previous races, who joined me in the commentary box, and yeah, great to have some drivers' insight into some of these races, because of course they know a little bit more about what's happening down on the circuit, so great to hear from that. So hopefully he has a good race out on circuit in this one. But like we were talking about, Kraling in this one, pole position, has had up and down results. Speaking of up and down results, that's going to be a big up and down results. Unfortunately, the 59 is off the track, and that is Ian Kraling. Oh dear, that was our pole sitter. Ian Kraling is out of this race. So the Kart Republic Motorsport driver, his kart is stricken out on the circuit on the formation lap. And, well, that is a huge disaster. So that means there'll be a missing driver there. Boris Lysen now is at the front of this. But, of course, will have to still start in his normal spot. He'll have to start on the outside line. There is Ian Kraling out of this race. Well, a huge blow. It's not been a weekend to remember after a superb qualifying. He's got to watch his last race of the day from the sidelines. Now, well, Boris Lysen, yeah, he's just remembered you're on the wrong side of the grid there. And I think there's been confusion here because, yes, he swapped side, and I think now other drivers got confused. So they've gone round again. This is a tricky one because this is a race leader who's disappeared now. And, well, drivers just need to remember that, you know, you're on that side, I'm on that side. Yes, let's not mess that round, but when they see someone at the front suddenly switch sides, I think drivers at the back, they think, oh, wait, am I on the wrong side? And then they switch side, and then a flurry of hands up in the air, so understandable that that's gone round again. Right then, well, this is certainly going to make it interesting. We're on board with Nicolas Schaufler for this race. Good to see Schaufler, championship leader, going into this weekend, cleared by some points. Again, yet to win a final this season so far in the championship. And, well, right now, needs to really think what he needs to do in this final. And I suspect it will just be gain as many positions as possible and finish on top. Get as much points as you can and try eke your way up that order as much as you possibly can in this race. But that is easier said than done. Right, now this looks a little bit better. And, well, this is going to be a good start here for Pokla because he's got clear run here at the front, but they've got to leave the gap. We are racing, and it is a good start for Lysen, but he's going to lose out on the lead. Pokla's going to inherit it down the inside. Pokla, who took a race win earlier on, will be delighted with this start as there's karts off in the background. They're all still going, and no yellow flags to report. So good to see that then. So some of the karts just running out wide. Oh dear, that's a chain guard that's come off, and it's a silver one. So, well, take your pick of whose cart that's come off. But, yeah, that is going to be a technical flag coming out to one driver. Eyes here at the front, though. Schaufler's there in second place now. That is exactly the start he needed. Let's see if he can push his way through. There's a kart off at turn at number 9. Looks to me like it could be a VDK, and it is. It's Nikita Nikashov, unfortunately, out of the race. The driver of the 83. Will go no further unless he can get it restarted across the line. Pokla leads the way, and with that lead, it was what we needed. 1 point, what he needed to beat Noah Baglin, and would start on pole position for Superheat 2 tomorrow if he can maintain the race lead. But that is going to be easier said than done because Schaufler there in second place is going to try and close in. Now, Schaufler, even in second, is nowhere near the top 8 at the moment. He's outside it. Kostoya has gone up into 5th. Scott Marsh who's in this, has gone up a few as well. Any more position gains for Marsh will benefit him, but I think he's gone down. McGuff has gone down to 11th place now. Ivanikov, yes, tumbling down the order as well. He is out of this race. He has not been able to get going. Sorry, Nikita Nikishov, I should say, is out of this race. Ivanikov is still in this race. On board here with Nikita Nikishov, who's down into 3rd place now. Lysen's got through. So Boris Lysen now on the charge. This won't affect the top running spot here. Pokula just needs to win this race. That's what he needs to do. And oh dear, off the track, it's Christian Kostoya. Kostoya out from the front of the grid, and he's devastated. Absolutely devastated. And look at the emotion on Kostoya there. He was fighting right at the front, and that is an absolute disaster. Kostoya, who was bumping himself up in the intermediate classification, now is nowhere in the top 8. He will tumble down the points, and that is going to really affect him tomorrow. And that was absolutely not what you need. Technical flag. A technical flag has come out, and it's for the number 76. It's for Joel Pokula. Your race leader has got to be out of this race. Was it his chain guard that came off? We saw a chain guard come off earlier on. Was it his? It was silver. Now I'm pretty sure the Tony Karts. Was it his chain guard? Well, there he is at the front. Let's see what happens. It's attached there, so we know it's his. At the moment, it's on the carts. We'll watch him. We'll watch him go through into the chicane, clips the curb, and yes, it was. It was his chain guard. The race leader. Oh dear me, that is disaster. Now, I can see his mechanic is running in the dummy grid. Race video here.
The chain guard came off at the chicane.
Yeah, confirmation. Well, you can see a chain guard's come off, and he's in the pit lane. He's in the pit lane. His mechanic is working on the kart right now. I can see it out of the commentary box window, but it's too little too late. Joel Pokula is going to go to the back of the grid there. The onboard view from Schaufler sees it. New chain guard fitted. He's back out on circuit, but that means that Baglin is well uncontested. Baglin's going to get pole position for Super Heat 2 now after that. He's not even in this race. He was out earlier on. So that means that, well, 2 of the front runners in this last qualifying heat for OK Junior are both out. 1 before the race even started and 1 on the opening lap. Coronel down the inside, gets past Waltz into P5. Waltz down to P6 now. He gets through. Coronel needs a good result in this one. He had that retirement earlier on as he lost out through that chicane. Lysen now leads the way and goes up to 5th in the intermediate classifications. Well, it doesn't affect the pole position. It doesn't even affect the top 4. And nothing will change from that. That is it. Lysen can only best P5 in this one. He can't do any more with that one. Schaufler now bumps up to 8th in the intermediate classification. So he's got 199 points. Another few points in that one. It's not going to affect it too much, maybe. If Marsh goes down and Schaufler goes up, that could gain Schaufler another position. But Marsh at the moment is looking pretty comfortable there in 3rd place. He's got the close company of Kalisha just behind. But if Schaufler can gain a position here and Marsh goes downwards, that would benefit Schaufler. But only by a point or so. So it's very minimal at the moment. Down the inside, well, that might affect it a little bit more. Kalisha getting past Scott Marsh. Marsh down to P4. Now, we'll see what happens with that. It does affect it a little bit, so the gap comes down now to 4 points. But like I say, Schaufler needs to win this one. He needs those 6 extra points you will get between 1st and 2nd place to really make a difference here. So he is still in the top 8 in that one. There's the top 6 that you can see on your screen. Lysen has just got past Martinez, joint on points, but because Lysen's out-qualified him, he has he's got the higher position in that one. So that's what's affecting that one. Nothing's going to affect the top 4 in the intermediate classification in this now. It's signed, sealed, and done. Van Langendonk and Baglin will start on pole position for Super Heat 1 and Super Heat 2 tomorrow. Joining them on the front row will be Zolfikari with Van Langendonk and Hugendorn with Baglin. for Superheat 2. So that will be the front grids for that one. These drivers are all fighting for the second row of the grid in their Superheats at the moment. Jack Iliff, fastest on circuit. Now, Iliff sits a little further down the order, in fact, 21st place, showing that the pace is happening all the way throughout the field right now as we are on lap number 8 of 11. And right now, everyone just focusing on what they need to do here. Leisen leading from Schaufler. Here they are on your screen. Schaufler, Kalijah and Marsh. Now, Marsh is still there at the moment, 7th in the intermediate classification. Devon Waltz now receives a warning flag. What is going on with the front runners in this one? Devon Waltz is going to see a warning flag as we go on board with Nicholas Schaufler. And it's the battle for the race lead there. First place ahead in the form of Boris Leisen. Leisen here, who I believe is yet to take a qualifying heat win this weekend. He may have had one earlier on in the weekend, if I try to cast my memory back a bit to that one. But Leisen certainly having a strong performance in this one. We'll keep an eye on the gap. It's 0.7 of a second. Now, Schaufler was faster on that last lap, but by 0.03 of a second. It was nothing, really. Nothing to warrant any drama. And the same story for this one. Actually, no, I'd say it was about 1/10 faster this time around than Leisen. So the gap's still around 0.7 of a second. This one here, still closing in. Kalijah's closing in on Schaufler more than Schaufler's closing in on Leisen here. This could play into Kalijah's hands here, down the inside. Nicely done, and he gets up into second place. I don't think that's going to affect the IC too much, unless Kalijah is just outside the top 8 in P9. They'll go through the timing beam here, and it doesn't affect it at all. So, yes, it's position gain, definitely. But not so much that it's going to affect anything at the moment. Or that might be why, because Schaufler's got back past him again. So that's probably why we've not seen it change. So Schaufler back into second place. Kalijah is closing in. Marsh is right there as we go on to the final lap of the race. If we're going to see fireworks, it's going to be between these drivers here. Leisen's clear now by a second. It's Schaufler, Kalijah, Marsh and Coronel battling for second place. Coronel could really do with a P2 here. It's right there in front of him. All he's got to do is reach out and take it. But right now, everyone goes defensive. Coronel doesn't. He tries to get the tighter line on the exit. Just can't do it. He stays there behind. Constantina effect kicks up. You can see Schaufler's head going backwards there. A little bit of contact between himself and Kalijah as they go through. But a couple of corners left. I don't think we're going to see anything. If we are, it'll be into the final corner. But who's going to lunge? If anyone's going to lunge, no one's going to. It's Leisen who's going to take the win. Schaufler will finish in P2. Kalijah from Marsh and Coronel the top 5. Well, Devon Waltz will finish there in P6. But a 5-second time penalty will be heading his way after that warning flag. Ludovico Mazzola finishes in P8 ahead of Roman Kamiab. 10 places gained ahead of Gustavo da Silva in 9th place, and Bruno Greek rounds out the top 10. Boris Leisen, though, at the end of the day, it's exactly what he needs. He was delighted with time qualifying. He was the 3rd fastest driver yesterday in time qualifying, and he's put that into effect over the course of the day. There, unfortunately, well, Christian Costoya out of the race, and well, we saw his reaction earlier on. I think he's okay. He's still in the weekend. He'll make it into the Superheats. But it just shows there of how much it means to these young drivers to make it into that top spot. Here's a look then at the provisional classification at the end of that one. We've gone over the top 10. Alois Gilliday finishing in 11th place ahead of Andrea Mani. James Anagnosiadis finishing ahead of Michael McGowan, and Jesse Phillips rounding out the top 15 out on circuit with position gain of 9 places out there. Alois Gilliday with 12 places gained. 16th place downwards is Vladimir Ivanikov, Jack Iliff finishing in P17. Dahlstrom with 12 places gained, finishes in P18. Henry Domain, really good race there for Henry Domain. 14 places gained, finishes inside the top 20 ahead of De Troja, who rounds out the top 20. Pancotti from Parker with a gain of 4 places. Sonazi with Mariana Lopez. Then it is Oscar Gallen from Ebi Razum. Gregor Kallis from Zhao Zijun, Yo Pokala from Remy Samchek, the first of retirement, Kostoya, Kraling and Nikita Nikishov. There is Kostoya in the number 7. Drama in that race for a handful of drivers, including this young man here, Boris Lysen. What he needed there, absolutely perfect. And Boris Lysen can be delighted with that one. Well, here's a look then at the highlights, and initially good getaway then from Boris Lysen, but Pokala would take the lead after the drama that was, well, Ian Kraling not even starting the race. Through that chicane though there, you may have glimpsed the, well, the chain guard coming off, and that was Joel Pokala's chain guard. This view here might give you an understanding of it, but through into the final, first corner, absolutely fine here. It was just the impact with the curb right here. Watch it, ping, off it goes. And yes, unfortunately, Joel Pokala would receive that technical flag, and in the pit lane he go. This was the best view of it, and yeah, Schaufler at that point knew that, right, I'm leading the race right now, but Schaufler unfortunately would lose out on a few positions there. Didn't count on the likes of Boris Lysen getting past, but Marshall's quick on the scene to pick up that chain guard in the early stages. This was Lysen down the inside. We'll get past Scott Marsh in that early stages. This would allow him to close in to the likes of Lysen. This was the emotional breakdown from Christian Kostoya, as you can see how much it means to the young drivers, but just not what you need. Not what you need after he was doing such a strong performance this weekend. He was in the top 5 in the intermediate classification, and with that retirement bumps him well out of contention in the superheats, and he loses out on a few championship points there as well, especially for a driver who's fighting for P5 in the championship standings. Race went on though, onto lap 4, Coronel making the good moves. We saw later on the more retirements there, and that one again, another big retirement out on circuit. Remy Samchek out of the race. Again, tumbling down the order, a loss of 14 places there after starting in the mid-pack. Coronel gaining the positions, getting past Devin Waltz. 7 volts later on in the race would receive that warning flag as well, so we didn't see what that was for, but clearly a sign that he'd done something not to the steward's liking out on circuit. As the race neared the end, that was the change there. Marsh going down a little bit more, Kalesia going through. That may have been the case that could have affected the top runners here. That certainly could have affected it, but Kalesia down the inside, but of Schaufler. Schaufler would later get it back, though. We thought it might affect the points, and yes, it was an instant retaliation from Schaufler, straight back down the inside, and denying that chance to break away. The race continued from this point onto the final lap. Lysen was clear. We thought there was going to be action between those drivers behind, but they stayed in formation. Lysen takes the win then ahead of Schaufler. Kalesia from Marsh and Coronel, the top 5. Changes the order a little bit, with Lysen going up to P5, Marsh going up to 7th, and Schaufler up to 8th. That is it for the junior category. It confirms that Van Langendonk will be on pole position, with Baglin on pole position for Superheat 2. They will take the championship points at the front of that one. It's time for the last race of the day, though, for the senior category. Again, I don't think this race is going to affect the top 2 runners out in the intermediate classification. I think that is signed, sealed, and done, of course, in the seniors for Dmitry Matviev. It's definitely signed, sealed, and done. 250 points. No one can touch him there. McLaughlin with 238 from Gomez's 235. Jimmy Elias is the pole sitter in this one. Now, he is 6th in the intermediate classifications with 182 points. 50 points to his name will help him out. But I don't think he will be able to do anything to get up into the top 3. No, he won't. The best he could do was P4 if he won this race. Well, drivers making their way out onto the circuit. Let's take you through the full starting lineup. Jimmy Elias and Zach Drummond on row number 1. Iglesias and Bottaro on row 2. Lewis Francis and Scott Lindblom round out the top 6 on row 3. Then they'll have Joe Turney and Salim Hanar on row 4. Ludovico Busso and Tiziano Monza go from row 5. Alpak Soy and Jakub Kamenik round out row number 6. Alexander Chartier and Emili Koivisto round out the next drivers on the 7th row of the grid. They round out the top 14. They'll have Casper Henriksen and Hugo Marti on row 8. Guy Alberghino and Maria Neto, who retired earlier on after a very dramatic start to the race, spinning out on one of the formations, starts this one on row number 9. Stylianos Kolovos and David Kozma round out the top 20 on row 10. Repetto and Eichmanns go from row 11 from Dussel and Spets. Then it's Luye from Hunter, Rafalik from Brunner, Suleiman Zanfari from Hatien Deng, Vilgot Leek and Theodore Brigson, Simon Peng and Elias Kavisto, who rounds out the 17-row grid. All 34 karts, I should say, are on track. Now, one going very slowly there, the 272 on your screen, going very slowly at the back of the field there. And that's Maximilian Rafalik, who should have been starting 27th. And, well, at the moment, he's not there. He's missed a sector in Sector 1, so I think maybe he had a slight rotation, maybe, at some point out there. We're not too sure. We'll keep a close eye on that one. Yellow flags as drivers make their way into the final sector. Now, they're approaching the red line on the track. From this point, they should be in side-by-side formation. Get themselves formed up for this one. They go nice and slow. Weaving has really died down on this one. Yes, there's definitely been a problem for Maximilian Rafalik. He's right at the back of the field now. He's miles away from the rest of the pack at the moment. Hopefully he can catch up before the race starts, but I don't think he will. Drivers making their way out of the final corner now into the tram lines. The front runners need to slow it down now, bunch the field up as they all come in now. It looks good. And the lights go out and we are racing here for the final race of the day. Down the inside, in towards turn 1, and Elias holds on to the lead of this one. Iglesias, where is he? Is there in second place. He's trying to push through, and there's an incident in the middle of the track. And karts go off left, right and centre in avoidance. And who's gone off the track there? I think that's Tiziano Monza and Alpak Soy off the track, and it is disaster for them. Theodore Bergson as well has had a disaster. He's gone off the track, and I think he's kept going though, but we'll see where he is. I think he's still in this race, but that is a disaster, and yeah, out of the race for both of them, for both Monza and Aksoy. Well, not sure what happened there, but clearly they got caught up in a moment. Action here, down the inside. This is Iglesias Bottaro going for the move there. Bottaro in the treble 2, getting up into P4. Now, Elias leads the way. Francis is there in second. They've got a comfortable one here. Here's Lindblom. We were speaking about him earlier on. He had good moves earlier on, and now he's there into P6. So he's having a really strong run here. Now he's bumping himself up to 6th in the intermediate classification. Elias, like we confirmed earlier on, could only best 232 points, which is 3 points behind Gomez. So the best he can do is get up into 4th in the intermediate classifications, which would still put him on a front row start for Super Heat 2 tomorrow alongside Finn McLaughlin. So that's still good running there with those positions. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Out of the final corner they go. There is Zach Drummond battling away. He's got Salim Hanar, Rousseau, Kamenik and Henriksen still in tow. Matviev at the moment in control of this. He cannot be beaten in the intermediate classification. 5 wins out of 5. McLaughlin, I suspect, will be watching this to see who's going to be starting on the front row alongside him in tomorrow's Super Heat. But action here down the inside. Big lunge there. And through goes Joe Turney, making those moves. Gets past Bottaro and Lindblom. Drummond making the moves as well. There is Lindblom getting now past from Drummond. So Drummond getting through. There's Salim Hanar in the background as well on the Prema car. He's wanting to push through. Ludovico Busso as well in the background. Eyes on this one, though. Elias Francis, at the moment, 1-2. That's the battle you can see on your screen as they make their way down into the hairpin. Now, there's yellow flags out there, and there is a cart off on the turn. Now, we've already gone off three of the drivers who have gone off the track. Now, could this be Leon Brunner off the circuit? Because he has tumbled down to the back of the order. But I am not too sure. I think it could be the 237. I'll get confirmation of that when the graphics update. Yes, it is. It's Leon Brunner and Hugo Marti. Hugo Marti's out of this race as well. So he's also off the circuit. So they've clearly had a coming together out on track. As down the inside, change here. Drummond ahead now of Lindblom and moves up into the next position there, into P5. So we're on lap 4 at the moment. But let's see what's happened. So Elias leads the way, Francis from Bataro, Turney from Drummond, Iglesias from Hana. Lindblom right there, and they're walking off the track. That's another retirement. Now that looks to me like a Beyond kart, and it is. It's Simon Peng, unfortunately, out of this race, walking away from his kart. And again, the marshals quick on the scene to drag that kart to safety. But he is another driver out of this race. That looked to be at the exit of turn number 6. There you can see his stricken kart now, just out of this race. So Elias leads from Francis, Bataro, Turney, Drummond, Iglesias, Hana from Lindblom, Busso from Kamenek, Kovisto from Henriksen, Guy Albertino there in 13th place from Chartier, Ian Eichmanns from David Cosma, Tom Lurier from Alexander Spett, Maria Neto from Stiliana Kolovos, Sullivan Zanfari from Kai Hunter at the top 22 out on track. Maximilian Rafalek from Elias Kovisto. Oscar Repetto from Urian Deng there in 26th place. We've got League from Tom Dussel. And then it's the start of the retirements there. So down to 28 runners in this one. Eyes on this field here. Francis under, I think, the most amount of pressure here as Davide Bataro has closed in quite considerably. Joe Turney just behind as well. Joe Turney could split these two drivers apart. Big check over the shoulder there for Bataro. Can see that it is the 203 of Turney just in the background. But he is going to try and fight his way through here if he possibly can. Eyes on this one though. Out of turn number 4 and 5 over the crest. And the sun still relatively high up in the air here. Local time around 5:15. Down the inside, though, Bataro could sense the danger from behind of Turney and thought, right, I will put another driver between myself and him, and it's in the form of Turney's teammate, Lewis Francis. So 2 of them now, line astern. Now, this is where it becomes of, right, who's going to be the driver leading this one? Well, Turney says he wants a chance at doing it, so he now gets past Francis. He does gain a position in this one. He moves up to 3rd place. And Bataro is not too much further ahead in this race. Elias, though, Jimmy Elias is there, and, well, he's 7/10 clear from the rest of the field. It's not a monstrous gap, but it's still a comfortable one as he pushes his way through. Parolin's closed in now as well. This is Zach Drummond. He's going to go for the move down the inside. Nicely done. That change will help him out a little bit there. Drummond's up to 6th in the intermediate classification. He's ahead of Lindblom now. Turney's bumped himself up to 8th in the intermediate classification as well. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Every position Turney can gain here certainly will help him out. Now, if Turney can get another position, that might get him past Scott Lindblom. It might join him in points with Lindblom. Not too sure. We'll see what happens there. But with Drummond getting past Francis, he's going to push himself up here. Can Turney get past Bataro? That is the question. There's a look at the intermediate classification. You can see Drummond just at the bottom of that one. 208 points. Who's in this race? Again, every position he gains benefits him. Ramakas, though, who's not out in this race. We saw him out earlier on. He's currently in P5. He can't do any more in the intermediate classification. He is at risk of being dropped down even more. On lap 9 of 13 here. Turney now up into 2nd place as well. So Joe Turney, what does this do? This does bump him up to 7th. He gets 1 more point ahead of Scott Lindblom. So despite Lindblom's efforts of getting up into 7th place, he is still in a position here where he's dropped down to P8. So that is exactly what Joe Turney needs. And Turney right now into 2nd place. I reckon he's got the time here if he wanted to, but the gap, I think, is a bit too big now, 1.1 seconds. I mean, it pushes tyres too much. I mean, you have to remember these tyres are the same tyres that they're going to use in the superheats tomorrow. Some drivers, I think, have saved those tyres already for tomorrow. And so it's going to be an interesting call here to see what Turney does. Definitely wants to make sure that he opens up a little bit more of a gap to make sure it's definitely secure, because he doesn't want the likes of this happening. Down the inside goes Zach Drummond. He gets past Francis, now moves up into P4. There is Jimmy Elias. We've not said much about him. He's driving away at the front. Gap 1.1 seconds now, with them all battling in the background here. Now it's starting to get a little interesting. Selim Hanar has joined the fray here. He has brought the likes of Scott Lindblom for company as well. Both of them have got past Francis. Now with Scott Lindblom taking that position, he retakes 7th in the intermediate classification and gets back past Turney. Turney can't do any more. He's just in 2nd place. He can try and close up the gap of 1.1 seconds with 2.5 laps to go, but I don't think it's going to be enough here. Lindblom, who's in the midst of these packs, needs to just keep gaining those positions, not risk losing any. If he loses any positions here, he drops back down in the order. So it's still a tense time for Lindblom. Turney's calm. Turney's controlled. He's still looking at a top 8 finish here. He'll still be in a really good starting spot for that superheat tomorrow. Remember, Joe Turney 2nd in the championship, was the winner of the final in Slovakia. Start of the season, though, was shaky for Turney. Not many points he gained in Valencia. Same in Val d'Argenton. Had a good result in Val d'Argenton, 2nd in the final. And then a relatively decent weekend at Slovakia, winning that final there as well. So, again, any points he can gain here will certainly help him out. On to the final lap, though, and Jimmy Elias, at the moment, is comfortable. 1.2 seconds ahead of Joe Turney. But Taro, Drummond, Hanar, Lindblom, Francis. That's the battle we're watching here. If Lindblom loses a position here, he will drop down to 8th in the intermediate classification. He checks over the shoulder. Francis could be the ultimate teammate here to Joe Turney. If he can take this position away from Scott Lindblom, not only does it benefit Francis, but it benefits Turney as well. But there, Jimmy Elias, the race leader, he's done exactly what he's needed to do in this one. Pushed himself forward. He'll start on the front row in Superheat 2 with this position, but it won't be pole position. Across the line, it is Jimmy Elias for France and Victory Lane, who takes the win ahead of Joe Turney. Davide Battaro finishes in 3rd place ahead of Zach Drummond. Selim Hanar finishes in P5 ahead of Scott Lindblom. Luis Francis ahead of Louis Iglesias. Jakub Kamenek and Emili Koivisto rounds out the top 10 on circuit. There's a look then at the end of the day, the qualifying heats phase. It's Matviev from McLaughlin. They're your pole sitters for Superheat 1 and 2. Gomez and Elias, they are going to be joining them on the front row as well. Ramakas and Drummond will round out the 2nd row of the grid as well in their respected superheats tomorrow. But they are going to have the close company of Scott Lindblom and Joe Turney as well. Here's a look then at the provisional classifications at the end of that one, the last race of the day. We've gone over the top 10. Casper Henriksen finishing in P11 after gaining 4 places. Pico Busso ahead of Alexander Chartier, finishing in 13th place. Eichmanns with a gain of 8 places finishes in P14 ahead of Guy Alberghino in P15. David Kozma in 16th place ahead of Alexander Spets. Maria Neto in 18th place ahead of Maximilian Rafalek, who gained 8 places, I should say. Tilianos Kolovas finishing in the top 20. Luye from Repetto, Kai Hunter from Zanfari, and then it was Deng, Leek and Dussol, the 27 finishers in that race. The retirements, Elias Kavisto and Simon Peng, Hugo Marti, Leon Brunner, Tiziano Monza, Alpac Soy, and Theodore Bergersen, unfortunately, all retiring from that race. Jimmy has Elias there on your screen, though. Well, that's a good result for him, and he bumps himself. He'll start on the front row for tomorrow's Superheats in Superheat 2. And I think as he heard the PA there, I don't know if that was reaction to knowing that. Here's a look at the highlights from that race. Elias, perfect start, no drama there whatsoever. Was able to break away, didn't have to contend with anyone from behind, so all good there. Drama started to kick off, though, out of the first chicane, unfortunately there for Tiziano Monza and Alpac Soy out of the race. You can see there the other car in the background. I think that was Theodore Bergersen off the track as well. Here's a look at that from the another angle. Drummond as well with initially a good start. You can see there Francis getting up into third place, though, taking advantage of that inside line. Turney would follow later on and later get past as well. More retirements later on. That was the incident from that one. Aksoy and Monza, both of them trying to get it restarted. Unfortunately for both of them, unable to get them restarted, both out of the race in the early stages. Race went on. Francis up into second place, tried his level best to close in to Elias in the early stages. Wasn't going to happen because later on then the likes of Bataro, Drummond, Hannah, Turney, they would all close in and they would all go for the positions. There you can see Turney going wheel to wheel with Drummond, but the slipstream there, proper NASCAR style driving there from Drummond with that slipstream with Bataro, managed to push them ahead from the rest of the field. Over the crest they would go, and again more retirements in the latter stages. I believe this one was Simon Peng, or maybe even Hugo Marti in the early stages of that race. Hugo Marti was the next one to retire in the early stages of that race. Again, Turney checking over the shoulder, and a lovely little switch over to the inside line there. That check over the shoulder was to see, is it clear? Can I immediately switch sides of the track? The answer was yes, and he signed, sealed that move done. Lindblom gaining the moves, but also losing them as well. Drummond, who made his way comfortably through the field, got up to P4 after starting from the front row, wanting to regain those positions in the latter stages of the race. Silimanar also gaining those moves as well. 3 places gained. Really started to push his way through the field. Also, of the last ditch attempt here, this was Drummond getting back up into third place at the latter stages of that. Sorry, into fourth place. Into fifth place, I should say. This was him into fourth place, down the inside there of Francis. That would split up the two kart republics. Would later try and go for the move on Turney. There it was again, down the inside, pushing his way through. That brought Hannah, that brought Lindblom, which effectively made sure Lindblom could beat Turney in the intermediate classifications. So that certainly shaked things up. Here again, another move from the both of them. It was tight running all the way throughout, but the finish would go the way of Jimmy Elias. Starts on that front row in Superheat 2. He'll start alongside Finn McLaughlin tomorrow. The Kart Republic row on lockout, but with 2 of the satellite teams, Victory Lane and VDK. Well, that brings us to the end of Friday's qualifying heats. Tomorrow is another day. We kickstart it with the Superheats at 10 to 10 tomorrow morning with Junior Superheat 1, then OK Superheat 1, then Superheat 2s, and then from 1 o'clock onwards, we go into the finals. 2 finals, of course, juniors first, then the seniors. 72 drivers go into the Superheats. 36 go through to the finals tomorrow. That will be starting a little bit later on in the day. But from myself here, Anthony Jordan in the commentary box, it has been a long day, and I'm sure the drivers are going to rest up now. We'll say thank you to the amazing work from the marshals out on circuit, from the production crew behind the scenes, the camera crew, as well as all the officials here at the circuits, and as well the viewers at home. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning for finals day for Champions of the Future, round 4 in Kristianstad.